Hello and happy Wednesday, everybody. Josh here with On the Wrong Lead. Another episode of On the Wrong Lead Live, and we got the Derby edition. Yes, that's right. Twice in 1 week, we get some live streams here. But yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming up here. Going to be covering all the stakes action that is going to be happening on Saturday. Matt Carlson's going to come in and probably yell at Mark once again. So hopefully we get a little bit of that. But yeah, we got a lot of stuff to happen here, and we're just going to go ahead and get right into it. Mr. Caleb Knight, how you doing, my friend? I love that you got the Channel Maker hat on.
Yeah, I had to bust out the Channel Maker hat for Derby Day. Even though I really associate him more as like a Breeders' Cup horse, I thought it felt appropriate. But yeah, doing good. It's been a hectic week. So for Oaks only being 2 days away and Derby being 3 days away, I don't feel as prepared as I normally would. I still have some homework to do a little bit to finalize some bet construction and actually just kind of figure out what bets I'm going to even play, which is probably going to be most of them. But but can't complain.
If it makes you feel any better,
driving me nuts.
Churchill Downs is still trying to figure out when these bets are going to happen. I still haven't seen an official saying of what the 2-day pick six is. I think we can guess what the races are, but I haven't seen it anywhere. I did see a live stream earlier that was handicapping it, but I didn't see a posting anywhere. I asked numerous people to ping me if they saw such a thing, but I have not seen it anywhere. So if anyone has seen it, please let me know. Yeah, let's introduce Mr. 3 over here, Mark Capitan, with a nice fancy bottle of bourbon that he just picked up today. Look at this little toasted barrel sour mash. I also got a bottle of Michter's with me.
Dude, Michter's is just a good pour. Like, I mean, they just do it right. I think it's not too fancy. It's not too bougie. It's fairly, you can find the regular stuff pretty easily. And man, it's good stuff. I just really appreciate it. So, yeah. But, I mean, back to your CDI comment, like, why would you ever expect Churchill to have their act together on their biggest day of the, biggest week of the year? I mean, that's just, this is CDI being CDI.
Yeah. Are we going to take bets on which ADW goes down first?
I'll take twins first.
I'm going to say TVG.
I'll take twins first.
I don't know. I always feel like Twin Spires doesn't go down on Derby Day.
Twin Spires crashed today. Between the last two races, it went down. I got kicked out. My video stopped working, and I had to log back in. And I was just playing a tournament, so I didn't really care. And it was a lockdown, so not like I need to make a play or anything. But I was like, oh, that's not a good omen for the upcoming, when you're going to have your busiest couple of days of the year.
Yeah. I got I'll be loaded up in our Naira bets, and we'll see what happens there. I have to make a deposit today because of my deposit limits in order to prepare for a certain ticket that is going to be played this week. But yeah, I see Penn State Scott saying you must have bourbon. You know what's funny is I have and I was talking about this yesterday, I have a special bottle of Teeling I picked up from the distillery that I was going to crack open today. But then I was like, okay, Oaks Day, maybe a little bit of leeway, but I mean, it's Derby. Like, we got to go with bourbon. So for my last trip to Louisville, I have a nice little Fort Nelson Reserve. This is a Kentucky straight bourbon from Michter's, barrel strength. And this is delicious. This is one of the best bourbons I've ever had. And at Michter's, you get to, you get the nice little box, and it's hard to see because I have, that stuff. I got the bottle out, but you get to pour your own. So or bottle your own. So, we got, my wife and I, we each got to bottle our own bourbon there. So yes, Penn State Scott, we are sticking with bourbon today.
That may be the best uncorking you've ever done on stream. Did you
certainly the fastest?
Bottle it there. I was. This got to be the fastest. I mean, when you're there, did you have equal hard time like putting the cap on the bottle? Is getting
I
it
did
off?
not.
Is that like a? Oh.
I did not. Caleb, what do you got in your glass? Anything?
Yeah, same as last night. It's got Bardstown Origin Series. It's a weeder. It's very good. I will be getting probably one of every version of that series I can find for $50. It's really good. So I haven't seen it around until maybe a month ago, but yeah, if you see it, I would recommend grabbing a bottle.
What was it called again?
It's the Bardstown
Oh, yeah.
Origin Series. There's a couple different versions. This is the weeded one.
I did see someone called you out in chat, Caleb.
Uh-oh.
So I said it's a compliment. You are a champ. I assume they were talking about you.
Oh, you.
Oh man. I've gotten you twice with that one where you just like didn't see it coming, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh,
I know. I'm too tired anymore. I'm not as sharp as I used to be.
that's funny. But we got a lot of races to get to, so why don't we just kind of jump into it? But obviously before we get into it, I do want to shout out our friends at DRF. Obviously they let us show you guys some of the data that we get to kind of play around with here, and they still have their two packages available: the VIP package and the players package. The VIP package obviously includes the Clocker Reports, Player's Guide, and the All Access PPs for Friday and Saturday. And then if you just want the All Access PPs for the 2 days, you can just go with the Players package. It gets you the betting strategies and the Player's Guides. Shout out to our friends at DRF. But yeah, we got a lot of races to cover here. And we're going to start with race 4. And this is going to be 11:30 God's time, 12:30 Eastern. Caleb, are you going to have your coffee done before the first race here? I don't know, man.
It is early. I might just stay up.
But yeah, we got the Derby City Distaff here. 7 furlongs, 4-year-old and up fillies and mares. Grade 1 here, $1 million up for grabs. Hey, if you're a dirt person, all dirt pick 5 starts here. You know, I don't know why someone would play all dirt pick 5, but hey, it's an option. Yeah, Mark, I'll let you get started here. How did you kind of see this race?
I have a horrible feeling that most of us are going to kind of see this race the same way, and that's I think Ways and Means is just a single in this spot. I realize she hasn't handled Churchill in the past, but I think Kentucky Oaks, she's going farther than she really wants to be going, and she caught an off track in the Derby City Distaff last year, first off the layoff. Now again, she's first off the layoff here, so there's always that concern. But Chad normally has these ones figured out. You're getting her tees up. She should be, she should kind of sit that right sort of trip just a little bit off the pace, get a really nice stalking trip. And if you're a time form truther, she's just, her best stuff is just way better than everybody else in this race. And I really, there's nobody else here that I'm super interested in. So I think I know who a bunch of other horses in here are. I think somebody like a Splendora takes a lot of money just off from the fact that she's won 5 in a row. But I think on her best day, Ways and Means is just a better horse. So I will get very aggressive to Ways and Means and probably get boomed by the Baffert.
Caleb.
Yeah, I have the opposite opinion. I am all in on Splendora. I will let Ways and Means beat me in this spot. This is a really tough spot to make a return off of a nearly 11-month layoff. Ways and Means, I agree with Mark that on her day she wins this race. I'm just not convinced that we're going to see her on her day off an 11-month layoff where she comes back to Churchill, which is a track that she really hasn't handled in the past. I'll give her a pass in the Oaks. I won't give her a pass in the Slop. I always hate when people use sloppy tracks as an excuse when the horse has clearly handled it in the past. For me, I just think she maybe doesn't fire as well here as she does other places. I mean, she really seems to bring her best stuff in New York. So I will be off on her just like Flavian Pratt is off of her. I think he sees probably the same thing that I do, likes his chances on Splendora a little bit better. So I will be using Splendora as a single A, passing interest in one or two others, but I'll be most prominently going through Splendora.
I mean, this is a 2-horse race, right? To me, I mean, I think it's Ways and Means and Splendora. I don't really, I I honestly, I mean, I prefer Ways and Means, but I think you make a good point, Caleb. Last year in the rendition of the Derby City Distaff, she went off at 5-2 and just didn't fire. And we saw her in the test the year before on a muddy track. I mean, win impressively by 2.5 lengths. That was like the coming out party, right? Like, she had won, the Oaks, she'd kind of regressed a little bit, or maybe didn't fire her best race there. I know I was really high on her in the Oaks last year, and then comes back in the allowance race, and then wins a Grade 1 by open lengths, and then just in the slop once again just pours it on. So I don't know. Maybe the long layoff gives a signal, like maybe there was something wrong those two starts. And the bed of roses, obviously humongous figure, winning by 7 3/4 lengths, beating Scylla, the eventual winner of the Distaff Sprint, right? The Filly Mare Sprint in the Breeders' Cup. Or did she
Scylla won the Distaff.
The Distaff, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I forgot which race she won. I know she won something. Where's PDT at? Right, because he, that
He
was
was
I
on
know
her
that
a
was his
month in
horse. I
advance.
know that was the horse he was all over, and he wouldn't shut up about the entire time. But I tried to block that horse out of my memory because I lost money there. But yeah, Ways and Means. I have that horse my top pick, but yeah, Splendora I'm gonna have to use as well. I really hope this isn't in the pick six, but I'm sure this race is gonna screw me over somehow. But Mark, I said 2-horse race and you disagreed. It sounds like you have other horses that you're gonna like to use as B's in this race.
Yeah, I thought Hall and Ice was a little bit interesting in here as well, who seems to kind of be trending in the right direction. She's a horse that's going to be forwardly placed. I don't think she desperately needs the lead. She would need to, bring her best stuff. But, if Ways and Means doesn't fire back to that bed of roses, Hall and Ice's best stuff is it makes her a player in this spot. She likes to win 12-21 lifetime. And she has wins going this trip. So I thought she was at least a little bit interesting. She's in really good form right now. I don't want her at 4-1, but I don't think you get 4-1 on her. I think she ends up a fair bit longer than that. So I thought Hall and Nice was a little bit interesting in the spot as well.
Caleb, we talked about 3 horses now in a 6-horse field. Are you going to add to that?
No, I would just say that Hall and Ice is the one that, if there was going to be an upset, I think she's probably the one that pulls it off.
Yep.
I think the pace in here is a little bit tough to say how it's going to materialize. Both of the leaders are at a Saffy's barn. Hard to know which one's actually going to go. And Splendora is obviously no slouch as well. So I like Hall and Ice. I don't know if 7 furlongs with the other pace pressure is really her best trip here. But on her day, she's a very nice mare.
And we'll check another box in the Francisco Arrieta, Caleb love affair here.
It's my boy.
On this weekend. So, anything else in this race before we move on? Penn State Scott saying off-white label. The Weeder from Bardstown is nice. Interesting thing about Bardstown is the brewery that I get a lot of barrel aged stuff from, Goose Island here in Chicago. They usually partner up with Bardstown to do like a bourbon that they age in the used barrels that they put in beer. Now, technically, right, it's not bourbon at that point. It's because bourbon has to be in it has to be in a new oak barrel. But it's a finished bourbon basically. So they basically reuse the barrels to age the beer in, and then they put the bourbon back in. So it's kind of a cool little thing. But let's move on. Race 5 here. The Turf Sprint, Grade 2, 5.5 furlongs here on the turf. 600K, I believe, up for grabs in this one. And I thought this was kind of a tough little race. Your morning line favorite in this race is the 3 My Boy Prince. I don't think I'm going to be on this one here. Granted, coming off of two straight wins, one at Tampa, one at Keeneland, and won that Keeneland race, pretty handily. But I think it's going to be one that I'm going to let beat me in this spot. I was a little bit more interested in the 7 yellow card, who I thought was maybe a bit unlucky to kind of be as far back as she was in that last race at Keeneland. Now, granted, right, this is a West Coast turf horse, so maybe buyer beware there. But I thought yellow card was really interesting. I think of the other short prices, litigation was the other one that I was a little bit interested in. Um, kind of the same thing with the last one. I think kind of got a bad trip. And I mean, granted, I see that Mario Gutierrez has ridden this horse numerous times. Gets IRAD instead of Mario Gutierrez, and I feel like that's a bit of an upgrade here for a turf sprint. So, unfortunately, I think that's kind of baked into the price, right? I think people are going to see that. They're going to say 3-1, and I think maybe the value proposition in a win bet isn't going to be there for this horse. But I would be remiss if I didn't go back to the old Big Fig Go Burr angle here, and maybe try with the horse that got the biggest figure out of that Shaker Town, which is the horse on the lead in Joe Shiesty. Now, this is the horse that on the synthetic went wire to wire in 2 straight races, and I mean got a 125 2 back, and basically paired that figure up here at Keeneland. And Mark, we've seen this Churchill turf course can definitely get very speedy. And we saw that a little bit yesterday, not so much today, I believe, but I definitely think, especially going 5.5. I mean, you got to have at least one of these horses that's going to be on the front end. Shockingly, Timeform doesn't have this coded as a fast pace, so maybe the 10's going to have an easy job to get over the rail here and maybe try and wire this thing. So I'm a 7, 9, 10 in this race. Mark, how did you kind of see it?
Saw really similar to you. I'm a little higher on my boy Prince than you were here. Didn't love the horse going into Shakerstown, and was proven wrong. And maybe this is a horse that's just continuing to get a little bit better. I think the jock change probably helped quite a bit there. But I think you have the kind of right 3 players, the 3 of the set, both the horses coming out of that Shakerstown and my boy Prince, and Yellow Card, and then also talking about litigation as well. So, and I do like the jock change on litigation. So, nothing really to add there. I think the other horse that I was at least a little bit interested in here is the 5 horse, Possible Mente. I know you. I heard a couple expletives with the name Joe Sharp afterwards, spoken by you today. There it is. And if you go back to this horse had a turf try down in Tampa. Threw up a big fig that doesn't fit that poorly with this. Has been campaigned on synthetic quite a bit. I think there's every right to imply that this horse could take a little bit of a step forward off that and be a major player. 1-2 on the crushed tires at Turfway in a row. Clearly in pretty decent form. And I think this one, if they go a little spicy on the front end, Possible Mente getting back on the turf could be a really interesting player here. And I think one of those horses in a big open field gets a little lost on the board.
Caleb.
Yeah, I think we all see this race pretty similarly. I watched back the Shakertown, and I'm kind of convinced if you ran that race 10 times, you'd get 10 different winners. I mean, it really feels like it was just a race of trips, who got the right setup, who was in the right place, who made the right move. And my boy Prince, he can certainly win this race, but as the favorite, I just don't know if I'm totally enamored with him in here. But that being said, I don't think there was a candy ash trip. I don't think there was a terrible trip by anybody else either. I mean, Yellow Card and Litigation both were probably trying to do a little bit more, a little too late. Maybe a rider change on Litigation makes a difference. Yellow Card, coming back to Churchill where he does have a win, maybe moves him up a little bit. But I think one of those horses is a very likely a winner. But the one I'm probably most interested in is the one you already mentioned, Josh, who's Joe Shiesty. He went pretty quick. I mean, that race really went back to the late runners in the Shakertown. And now he comes to Churchill, where he has 2 wins in a second from 4 starts. He is almost certainly controlling speed in this spot because for a turf sprint, I don't see a ton of other speed. So I think he should easily be able to clear in here. And I'm just wondering if he'll be able to have a little more in the tank if he doesn't have to go quite as quick early. He does need to once again work out a trip from a parking lot post, which is kind of a bummer for him. Can't seem to catch a draw, but I do like Joe Shiesty. And then I agree with Mark about Possiblemente, who is maybe the one kind of unknown horse who's moving up through the ranks and maybe getting good at the right time. It's hard to see a career top coming for the now 6-year-old gelding, which he probably does need to win this race. But he's versatile. He should be in that first flight, and he's another one that I do agree with Mark is pretty interesting in here.
Yeah, if you look at that Shakertown, I believe the speed basically finished 5th, which was Joe Shiesty, and the other horses up on that pace, I think finished dead last and like 3rd to last or something like that. So that race did kind of fall apart. So with a lack of speed in this race, I mean, really the only other horse that's kind of shown a little bit of speed is maybe that 4, full disclosure, but I don't think he's as fast as the 10. So. I really like the 10 in this spot. So, anything else on this race? This does start the turf pick 4, which I'm definitely going to be involved with, both on a personal ticket and possibly in the group ticket as well. So, all right, we move on. Race 6. Interesting spot to put this race, the overnight stakes, the Knicks going a mile here for 4-year-olds and up, a little 200K. Little taster here, your morning line favorite in this race, I believe, is the number 2 Dragoon Guard at 3-1. Mark, how did you kind of see this one?
No, I think it's an interesting race in the fact that, this race is for most of these horses not going to be their target for the year. And if you look at a lot of these horses, they're horses that are competitive in graded stakes, caliber. So this is probably a better race than it looks necessarily on paper. And I think you have to kind of start with what the pace dynamics look like in this race. And I think you mentioned, in the last race, there was no pace. Well, there's a ton of it in here. You have horses like Dragoon Guard, who's going to, probably end up inheriting the lead in here. But also, Prince of Power has a ton of speed. Baran Hot has a ton of speed. Banjo Chris has quite a bit of speed. And I really, I like Dragoon Guard. I think if you're a big fig go Burt, kind of person, Dragoon Guard is your horse. But I really kind of wonder if this does end up coming apart a little bit in the end. So I ended up on the 4-horse BU in this spot. A horse that is going to be able to sit just a little, a fair bit off it, probably more mid-packish. Gets Johnny V up for the Toddster. And a horse that toboggan 2 back was a pretty good effort, and honestly, he didn't run terrible in the Carter. Gets a stretch back out to a mile, which I think is probably more the trip he's looking for, at least at this point in his career. And I think if he brings his best stuff, I think he's a major player in here with a race that I do think has a tendency to come apart at least a little bit. So I'm going to end up on BU as my top choice, and interested to see where you guys go here, because I'm sure Caleb's going to tell me how I'm horribly wrong and an idiot or something. So I'm waiting for it.
I have a different name for BU. PU. Stinky. I'll tell you what, man. I don't know if there's there's a number of Brad Cox horses I think that are hard to trust, and Dragoon Guard might be at number 2 maybe on that list. Maybe number 3. I don't know. He's pretty high up there, man. This is like the quintessential Caleb nonsense, where like right when you start to trust the horse, he stabs you in the back. And I don't know. I mean, I guess you kind of maybe see a little bit of an every other pattern with this one, and second up, he seemed to have run pretty well, but I mean, I'm begrudgingly using this horse as an A. But I'm not happy about it.
You're begrudgingly using the E8.
Yeah, I'm not happy about it.
You're lying.
I'm not happy about it. But who I do like is the horse that beat him 2 back, and that's the 11 Moonlight. And I mean, I got to be honest, man. Like, this is my top pick in this race. This is a horse that absolutely loves Churchill Downs. I mean, this horse is. I mean, I don't understand why they ship this horse anywhere else. I mean, the last three races, 3 for 3, all 117, 121, 125, putting Dragoon Guard in the locker, and I mean, 8 to 1 is just absolutely nuts on this horse. I mean, yeah, this is my top pick. If I am playing some dirt pick five nonsense, I mean, this is the horse I'm going to have most of my money going through. But yeah, I'm going to use it too because, like you said, Mark, he is the speed in this race. Brad Cox always points to here. It's and like if this horse beats me, like I'm gonna be like punching air like Caleb on a random Saturday at Aqueduct when the 2 to 5 beats me. So, Caleb, I think you've gotten like more strays than Mark, so I'll let you go. How did you kind of see this one?
Yeah, I mean, I had a hard time with this race. To Mark's pick, BU, I think he's fine in here. I don't know what I think of some of the horses he was beating in New York, or running against in New York for that matter. But that second to Knightsbridge, 4 back looks a lot better now. Here 5 months later, and he was only beaten by Bookham Dano a length last time out. So I agree with Mark. I do like BU. My top selection in here is a horse that I'm really torn on, admittedly. But Josh, you mentioned a horse that loves Churchill Downs. I mean, I think you have to look at the number 6 Tour Player. And this is a horse that really gives me a bit of hesitation because there's a big discrepancy in the figures for this horse. I mean, if you're looking at his time form figures, he just looks quite slow. I mean, and it's not even, he's not even consideration to win this race. But I do think if you start looking at, his buyers, it's a little bit better. If you look at some other sets of figures, his thoroughgraphs or whatnot, I do think it paints a different picture. And I'm just kind of curious. I mean, this is a horse that loves a mile. He loves Churchill Downs. I mean, he beat Dragoon Guard last time out, but pretty comfortably in what was admittedly a pretty short field. You get Flavian Pratt aboard, and there's just 4 to 1 feels like a kind of a bad price. I hope you get better. I don't know if you will. But shit, you got 7 to 2 on this horse in a 4-horse field last time, and now you're running on the Derby undercard against 10 other horses, and you're getting the same price. So I do like Tour Player. I don't think he's good value in here, but he's probably my very tepid top pick. A couple others I'd potentially look towards. Is I don't know what to do with Dragoon Guard. I completely agree with you, Josh. That's a Brad Cox horse I've never been able to really trust. He definitely took the more let's cash checks route through his 3-year-old season and 4-year-old season. So I'm not sure if he's quite this good. I am more inclined to think he's probably not. The one horse I do want to talk about at a ridiculous price is the number 5, Prince of Power. And this is a horse that clearly just doesn't really love Turfway that much. But if you go back to some of his dirt races prior to bringing him over to Turfway Park, he's run some races that would make him a real player in here. I mean, he has a couple, of 120 plus time form ratings, which is probably what this race is going to take to win. I'm guessing a low 120s kind of a figure. And then he went to the synthetic, and he just is maybe 20% slower on the synthetic. Some horses just don't love it. He's not a win machine, especially on the dirt. I don't know if a 1-turn mile is really his best trip or not. But if you're going to give me 30 to 1 on a horse who's, 3 of his last 4 dirt figs put him in the trifecta, I mean, all day. So I think Prince of Power is interesting. I don't know what we'll get. He might run last, but at 30 to 1, I'd pay to find out.
Matt, thanks for joining us. How did you kind of see this race?
So I treated this as a race where I did it like as a process of elimination thing. I just crossed out all the horses that I didn't want to bet for one reason or another and ended up on 2 other horses then. So kind of 3 things in this race that I saw. One, I think there's a couple horses in here, and I think most of the favorites are just horses that probably to me don't want a mile. Like you look at Dragoon Guard, he's got 1 win at a mile in 3 seconds. He kind of gets second-itis when he only has to run a mile. I think he wants longer. My problem with a horse like BU is he only has 1 win at a mile. And oh, by the way, it's via DQ. So, does that horse really want to run a mile, or, does he want shorter? Find out, but am I willing to take a short price on him because of that? No. The other thing that I don't like about this race, there's just a lot of horses that kind of can't run off Lasix, it looks like. like, you know, I know it's some of the longer prices, but you get horses like Banjo Chris that are 0 for 6. Prince of Power, who Caleb likes, is a renowned 0 for 13 off Lasix. Burning Hot's 0 for 5. You know, I just don't know which of these horses is going to run off medication. And I think that's an angle that you kind of want to play a little bit in here. And then my last opinion is just that the Cherokee Mile was a shit race, and I don't want to bet anybody who actually ran in that thing. So that leaves to me 2 horses that I'll actually want to play in here. One of them Caleb mentioned, I think, was Tour Player. And the other one was the 10 Capital Idea, who lost to, you know, renowned Oaks Day favorite Grand. So, you know, I mean, I think, like, if you look at the 10, you look at that last race against Grande, like, he was having to try and close in off like an incredibly slow pace where Grande was 1-9 and got everything his own way and kind of stuck with him in the stretch. And so if you have any kind of pace in here to run into, it's not that I think this horse really wants a full mile and is a 1-turn horse, because obviously that was a 2-turn race and, you know, at GP, but maybe, right? I mean, he at least went toe to toe with a horse kind of against the grain that I think is better than a lot in this field. So, you know, kind of give me Capital Idea, I think, on top in here. I like him better and have less excuses for him than probably every other horse in this race. You know, I think my first note on this race, unfortunately, was like, ick. So, you know, me and Russ are, you know, kind of on the same horses, it looks like. So that's, I don't know if that's a good sign or bad for me or him. But yeah, that's kind of how I saw this race. Ick.
I remember Russ one time, he messages me. He's like, hey, he's like, look at this race and tell me if you'd claim any horses out of it. And like I gave him a horse, and I think the horse ended up finishing last. And he was like, yeah, I'm glad I didn't pick that one. So I don't know, maybe you're probably in good company there. Yeah. Yeah, good call about the Lasix angle. These stakes races are always really weird because these are the races, right, where you get a lot of horses that are coming in from allowance company or coming in from states that maybe they allow Lasix. And yeah, like it's something that at least like when I first started handicapping was like something like you didn't have to think about, because, you know, there's just like the straight basic or Lasix was basically allowed everywhere. Yeah, since the ban now, I think you got to think about it a little bit more. So it's a good angle there. Mark, did you have any other horses you want to talk about?
That's what I asked Matt. I mean, I understand the Lasix angle, but I realize Tour Player does have one win off Lasix, but does Capital Idea have a win off Lasix? And Tour Player has like
he's hit the board twice. I mean, I get it,
okay,
right?
okay.
Like, I'm not saying it's a strong play, but I'd at least take 5-1. Like, he's hit the board 2 out of 3 on this. And I mean, I think the last race at least showed, right? Like, he can run longer off Lasix with a horse that I think is better, right? If you're going toe to toe on a slow pace with a 1-9, trying to make up ground in the stretch of GP, that's at least impressive enough to say, okay, like, I'll give him some credit for running off medication there.
Yeah, no, I get that. I think for me, this is just a really tough race, and I want a lot of coverage. I think you guys all mentioned horses that I would want to use. So nobody here I need to point out, but I just feel like I need coverage. You know.
Yeah, agreed. I will say I don't approach these races as playing, you know, long horizontal sequences. So I agree with that. I think if you're playing through this race, an all button is not inappropriate.
No, it's not.
Anything else on this race? Caleb, you got anything else you wanted to talk about in this one?
No, I don't think so.
All right, well, we'll move on to race 7, and we're getting into Caleb's wheelhouse here. I mean, this is a turf mile, so I mean, it's not quite long enough. It's not long enough, but unfortunately, the longest race we have is a 1.125 miles. So, yeah, Distaff mile here. 4-year-olds and up, fillies and mares, grade to $1 million on the line here. Caleb, how did you see this one?
Yeah, I think this is a pretty fun race, and the way I looked at it is I'm not all that interested in the top 2 or 3 choices. Sweet Rebecca, I've just never thought that highly of. She has one figure that's just a standout, and then everything else is considerably slower. I don't believe we're going to see the Woodbine version of Sweet Rebecca, and I think she'll be overbet. I mean, she barely got it done last time against a field that is significantly weaker than this. So I don't like the short prices in here, but who I do like in here is a horse just a bit to her outside, the number 4 Temptable. This was a horse that has been keeping decent company over in France and Germany, and then ships over to the States to run in a grade 3 and draws the parking lot, which at Del Mar is a really tall task to go a mile from that post. The turns are tight, they come up quick, and she just, essentially lost a ton of ground and made a nice run to get up for, I say get up for 7th, but she was 3 lengths back. I thought she made up about 7 lengths on the leaders in that run, and it was kind of a blanket finish behind Special One. I think she's going to move forward here. She's had some time in the States. She didn't have to, have a big ship for this one, relative to the overseas ship. And that figure she earned in the Goldacova is pretty competitive with, what I think it'll take to win in here. So, she's in Belmont's barn now. So, he does just fine, when he gets these kind of first time with trainer type moves. And I just think she's the one, the Juddmonte homebred that, she's still pretty lightly raced. I mean, only 8 starts as a 4-year-old. Still lots to like, I think, and has really been more of a progressive sort who's improving in almost every start leading up to that Goldacova. If she runs back to it, I think she's a likely winner, but I'm really expecting more forward move. And if she moves forward, I think she's a very likely winner. So for me, I'm going to go with Temptable on top, and I hope we get that 8-1.
Matt.
Yeah, I agree on Temptable. Oddly, I kind of thought it was a pretty bad ride by Barcelona, unfortunately. Like, he seemingly could have gotten over to the rail pretty easily from the 13 post, and I don't know why he didn't. I guess the one thing that stood out is he kind of rode that like he had a ton of horse. And, even though he didn't on that first run, I guess it's a good sign at least. Horse moves under Mont now. I don't know what to expect out of this horse, except for the fact, I guess it's also, intriguing that she stayed here for kind of over the winter, right? So, I don't know. Could have returned to Europe, but decides to kind of run back here. Is that a good sign or a bad sign? Not sure, but I agree. I mean, this horse, I think, should move forward. I think has probably, the talent. And any move forward, if we get 8-1, yeah, sign me up. I think the other horse that I really like in here is the 9 Maggie Go. I mean, you mentioned Sweet Rebecca. I think if you watch the replay on that, like shared race between Maggie Go and Sweet Rebecca was the one to trip out in there. And I'm not going to say it was a bad ride by Pratt, but if you watch the stretch run, Pratt kind of picks 4 different lanes before he finds anything kind of trying to close in, right? So I don't know if Pratt ever wins that race, but I have to imagine if that horse at least picks a lane and can get first run, it's a little bit closer. And based on the price you're going to get on Maggie Go versus the price you're going to get on Sweet Rebecca, I'd much rather have Maggie Go with, up here with Irad up than, taking Sweet Rebecca at a short price. So, those are kind of the 2 primary plays. The only other horse that maybe I like, but I can't swallow the morning line price on is Pin Up Betty. I mean, Save Ground didn't show a ton in the stretch in the Jenny Wiley, but maybe moves forward second up. I don't think Juan's ideal. I don't think the mile's ideal. I don't think this horse likes, or I think the horse actually does like Churchill turf. I'm trying to look at the record of this. I mean, it has 4 wins out of 7 tries at Churchill, which I didn't even know Churchill ran 7 turf routes over the past 5 years. So, hey, the horse for course angle maybe on this one is, intriguing. I think you just need a lot better price than the morning line would suggest on that one. So give me 4 and the 9 mostly in here and try to get through.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't like the 2 Sweet Rebecca in the spot whatsoever. I just think that, right, you cross a line through the Keeneland race 4-back where caught yielding turf, and Matt, we talk about this all the time on Hong Kong. As soon as that grass gets wet, what happens to your numbers? They get all messed up. And what happened at Happy Valley on Wednesday? We both got messed up there.
I got messed up. Yeah, that's why I'm here.
But yeah, I mean, like really, like you cross the line through that race, and I mean, Mark and I aren't going to bet this horse, right? Because we're big fig go Burr, and that big fig fake. So yeah, I mean, if Sweet Rebecca is really going to be your morning line favorite, I mean, you can have her at whatever price you want, and I'll probably book it. Yeah, I think of the short prices, I like the 8 Pin Up Betty the most. you kind of mentioned it, right? Just seems to love Churchill, and we've said it's time and time again. It's just kind of a weird turf course. Maybe a little curious whether this is maybe too sharp for her, because I do think that she probably prefers an extra furlong, likes the mile and the eighth distance a little bit more. But she ran fine in this race last year, finishing second by a neck. She looked like she was going to be a winner in that race, and then got caught by a neck in that race. So, yeah, I like the fact that JJ's getting back aboard. Rode her in that turf distaff mile last year. So yeah, a lot to like, I think, about Pinup Betty. But hey, Big Fig Go Bird, number 7, moving on up, coming here for Safi Joseph. Love the fact that Jose gets aboard here. And I mean, this is a horse that's got a number of figures that fit, including the Mint Julep last year, where she has a nice little 121, where she finished third to Pinup Betty in that race. But yeah, ran third in that turf distaff last year as well. Kind of had a little bit of a baby Z pattern there in that race, and yeah, I just think is a horse that is getting a very, very competent rider compared to, I don't know what they were doing last time, going 5.5 with this horse, but yeah, I really like this. I think there's a lot to like with this horse, with the jock change, with getting back to, I think, the right distance, and getting back to a turf course that I think she does like. So 7 and 8 are my top picks, and much to Caleb's chagrin, I am going to use the 3 portfolio duration. That might be the fakest Chad in the entire field, which is saying a lot. But I mean, I guess I got to hit myself with this over here. But I mean, Mr. Flavian Pratt's getting the board here. And you mean to tell me I'm getting Flavian Pratt and Chad Brown on the horse that does not project to be the favorite? Now, granted, this horse is going to have to find 10 time form points somewhere. And I don't know if Sammy Camacho Flavian Pratt is worth that much. But I don't know. I'm curious what price we're going to get to find out. So I have the 3 portfolio duration as my lone B in this race, which is probably going to make Caleb groan even more. But yeah, I'm 7-8-3 in here. Caleb?
Yeah, I mean, you can't win them all, right, Josh? But I like your 7 and 8, and I like the 4 on top. The only other horse I maybe touch on is, I don't recall, did anyone mention the 5 Classic Q?
No, Mark, sorry. I think I skipped over you. Who did you like in here?
I'm really not that important. Nobody even pays attention to me. Everyone just ignores me. I mean, this is the story of my life here. No, I mean, when I looked at this race, I'll keep it fairly quick. There's a ton of horses in here that are too slow to win, and the horses that are fast enough to win, for the most part, just don't win historically. So I landed on the same horses that Matt and Caleb landed on. Temptable, I think, is a horse that is fast enough to win and does like to win. And I think Pinup Betty loves this track. I don't know if this is the trip, but I do know that when Juan comes east and he rides maker horses, it tends to be good things happen. So I think I need the 4 and the 8, and I don't really need anybody else in here. At least I know they can win and they can get this trip. And yeah, and again, that one fig out of Sweet Rebecca is clearly an aberration. Yeah, you get horses like her who are in form but just aren't fast enough to win. And then there's also a lot of horses in here that are horses that throw up figs consistently, that should be fast enough to win the races, like a Moving On Up, but they just never actually do win them. So I'll be on the 4 and the 8, and let everybody else beat me in here.
Sorry, Caleb, you were going to talk about the 5?
Just a bit. I mean, we've spent enough time on this race, but I just thought that the 5 horse in here, just from a pace perspective, I didn't see a ton of speed. I know they have Sweet Rebecca, listed as being somewhat forwardly placed in here. I don't think she wants to be on the lead. I think she likes a target. And Classic Q is, kind of a need to lead type, in my opinion. I mean, by far her best efforts come on the lead. Does have a win over here at Churchill, and that was actually coming off the pace. But I just kind of think, Johnny V's the rider I would want for this kind of a horse. I mean, she just missed. I just missed, less than a length against Lush Lips last time. I think Lush Lips would be a sizable favorite against this field if she were to show up here. So I think she's interesting, and I think she kind of gets lost on the board a little bit. I think you'll get better than 6-1. So for me, I just thought she's another one that I'll probably have on a couple tickets.
You think she's fast enough early to make the lead?
I think she is, and I also think it's a matter of tactics. I mean, I think with Johnny V being an aggressive rider, and her typically best results coming when she's been forwardly placed, I think she's going to go. Horses that time form may think have early speed, like a Sweet Rebecca, or even an Italian Soiree coming out of the sprints, have genuinely never made the lead. And I don't believe the pace projector in this one. I think Classic Q makes the lead, and I think she kind of opens up a little bit.
Yeah, it's funny. If you look at the individual pace figures, right? Classic Q's got a 127, a 148, a 122. And Sweet Rebecca's really only got one number that's over a 120. Well, two. She's got 126 last time out, and then she's got a 137 in that, yielding turf, which I think we're going to kind of cross the line through. So, that's a good call out there, Caleb. Anything else in this race? All right, we'll move on to the Pat Day Mile. Grade 2 here for 3-year-olds, going a mile on the main track here. And your morning line favorite in here is the number 6, Crude Velocity for Bob Baffert. I've never even heard of this horse, but apparently he's 5-2 on the morning line. You get 3-1 on Englishman for Sherry DeVoe. Mark, where'd you land here?
Well, first off, I think when the gates pop, I do not think Crude Velocity will be your favorite. I think it'll instead be the one horse, the Englishman, and I think the Englishman is the only horse I need in this field. This horse's debut at 7 was freaky fast. Threw up a massive fig. Sherry cuts the horse back, cuts the horse back a little in distance. It doesn't run quite as big of a fig second time out. Second off the layoff here, every right to step forward for this one. It should be controlling speed on the front end. The horse has won his first 2 starts by 14.5 lengths combined. Albeit he's never faced any company like what's in this field, but I think he goes to the front end and just doesn't stop. We know he gets this, I shouldn't say we know he gets this trip, but I'm not concerned about the trip given the pedigree, and given what he's shown in his first 2. And I think everybody's just going to go play catch me if you can with him. And he gets Jose Ortiz up, who we know Jose is much like a Johnny V type, somebody who can go to the front end and kind of control a race a little bit, save a little bit of horse for down the lane. So I just need the one, and in a very big, open, wide, competitive version of the Pat Day Mile, I will try to zag when others are zigging, right? And get cute and single here.
Caleb.
I mean, let's not pat ourselves in the back too hard there. I don't think anyone really thinks this is a super wide open, spready race, or at least I don't see it that way. I think it's a 2-horse race between Englishman and Crude Velocity. I probably prefer Crude Velocity. He does have maybe a few more questions to answer. I mean, never going past 6.5 versus Englishman debuting at 7. Englishman does have the win off Lasix and the win at Churchill. But I just think I give a slight nod to the versatility of Crude Velocity a little bit more. The Englishman really does seem like a pretty dead set need the lead type, and there are other speeds in here. I don't think there's other speeds that are as fast, but we'll probably have to go quicker than he's had to do in both of his career starts so far. So I think it is a 2-horse race. I think those 2 are clearly the best 2 horses in the race. I won't get too cute here. I'll probably make one an A and then maybe have a saver ticket with the other. I probably give a slight edge to Crude Velocity, but to me, they're head and shoulders above the rest of this field.
Yeah, Fortnite is fun mentioning the best horse off Lasix in this race, both 1 and 6. But he doesn't hate the 5 as a bomb either in this spot.
I completely agree. If I didn't want to say it's a 2-horse race and talk about 20-1, but I love the pattern. This horse is coming in, paired his top last time out on a surface that's probably not his best, at a distance that maybe isn't his best. Cuts back to Churchill or a mile at Churchill where he got a nice win. I love the 5 to hit the board, and Yeah, maybe at the price, maybe he's worth including on a horizontal wager. I totally agree with Fortnite.
Matt?
To disagree with Caleb right away, I think this is a wide open spready race. I don't like crude velocity at all. I think, just breeding wise, like you step up to between 8 and 8.5, like that horse's ROI gets slashed, right? Like returns like $1.80. So right on figs at 6 to 6.5, you bump him up to a mile, he returns 64 cents, like sire wise. So loses Lasix, unfortunately doesn't lose flow. I think my opinion is like, I'm not going to play crude velocity. I'm going to play a lot of other horses in here. I do think a Gushman goes off favorite. I think that's, he's fine. Probably can win this race, probably is a deserving favorite. I do think there's others in here that I want to probably use at bigger prices. I don't know what price you get on the 2 Trouble Calling, but I thought the race last out was impressive. Obviously it was in the slop, so hard to judge pace figs, hard to judge that actual number and what's there. But this horse is kind of moving forward in distance. I don't think there's any, I think it's encouraging that he can probably get the mile, right? And so he hasn't tried it yet, but, Saya stays aboard, has been moving forward, seems to get better with the distance. 5-1 seems fair in this field for me. And then a couple other horses that I think, again, probably have run better races at 1 turn and then, just haven't looked good stepping up to 2 turns. And those, both are the 4 and Secured Freedom and the 5 and Stop the Car. So you talked about the 5. I won't, talk to that again because I do think his best race is kind of at that Churchill, fig, back in November or so. But same sort of thing with Secured Freedom, right? I mean, I think, stepped up to those 2-turn races with Kimura up at Santa Anita, maybe this horse just wants the 1-turn mile, right? I mean, I think that's probably the ideal configuration with this horse and, can probably get it. It's, I think, encouraging to see JB up, right? Like, not that I think JB's a great rider, but like he probably wouldn't be taking them out if he thought this horse had 0 chance at least. So 20-1, I think, is a fair price on that for a horse that, showed some pretty decent figures sprinting and now, didn't maybe like 2 turns and gets back to the 1-turn mile. So I'm willing to give a chance there. So I think I'm 1, 2, 4, 5 and, probably just spreading a little wide in here, but those are the 4 that kind of stuck out to me.
Yep. Jay loves Englishman. He says he thinks it wins the race. I did see Russ talking a little about the 8. And he says nobody can keep up with Further Ado. Now, Russ gave me a little bit of shit. I caught a stray from Russ. Well, actually, it was a direct hit. He said that I pronounce his last name like Mark pronounces horses. So I think I keep on saying Nice, but apparently that's wrong. Is it Nice? Nace? I don't know. I'll keep on guessing.
We need the phonetic spelling.
Yeah, I know. We'll get that out.
Not that I can read what those are.
And then Mr. Artist David Barista, always love seeing him in chat. He's saying keeping count of the on the wrong leaf, Flo catches a stray streak. And I mean, Flo could not even have a horse and he probably catches a stray. But yeah, I have 2 A's in this race and I feel like I have kind of split the difference between everybody. I like the 6 Crude Velocity. I already mentioned I don't know who this horse is, but I know Bob loves winning this race. So give me the horse that's 2 for 2 coming in here. I think there are questions about the distance. I do hope the odds on the 6 and the 1 flip a little bit because I would like to get a little bit better price than the 6, but I do like the 6. But man, the 4 Secured Freedom sure looks good to me cutting back, man. Because I saw it the same way you did. You look at the 1-turn races and you look at the 2-turn races. You get Johnny V aboard here, who loves winning at Churchill. I think that the 4 at 20-1 is a huge play for me. I love this horse in this spot here. And then really the only other horse that I have any interest in is the 7 Crown the Buckeye. I have this one as a lone B, and kind of similar to the 4. I mean, the 1-turn races just look better than anything else, right? I mean, obviously won that second asking at Thistledown, and immediately went to 2-turn races in some stakes racing, and I mean, I think got in a little over his head, trying the Derby Trail, and but comes back and finishes a nice second in the Gotham going that 1-turn mile at Aqueduct. So I do think that This is probably the preferred trip for this horse. And obviously, we're going to need to have another step forward here. But I think this horse takes a little bit of a step forward, and he's right in there with everybody else. Yeah, that's all I need in here. I'm going to be 4-6 with the 7 as a B. Nick saying, "Who knew I was a CA homer?" I think everybody but you knew that, Nick. Apparently,
He's a Baffert homer, but also who knew Josh wasn't an E8 homer and is not using Englishman? I mean, that's a curveball.
I mean,
Yeah, it is. It is.
I don't know, man.
What-
I off Lasix. I mean, granted, I know he won his debut on Lasix, but I mean, like, why do you try to break your maiden at 7 furlongs and then cut back to 6 furlongs and then decide, hey, we're gonna try the Pat Day Mile? Like, I don't know. I think that this horse maybe is I don't know. I think if they thought something to this horse, they would have tried something else by this point. I don't know. I have questions about it, but maybe, I'm also not a trainer. I'm just looking at the figures and you win 7 1/4 lengths and you immediately think, hey, let's cut this horse back. I don't know.
What can they run at fairgrounds though? Like, I mean, I can't
Yeah,
tell
I
where
think
they're
that's-
running because of the
that's exactly
trees,
it.
but
Yeah, but I mean, why do you come back? Why do you come back in a allowance race and not, try stakes after that debut?
I don't know.
I
I don't know
think-
where else Sherry was running. You know,
Yeah,
and
I
on
think
Lasix of all things too. Like,
well,
I'm
that's
gonna-
required down in Louisiana, right? Like,
I'm
Mark?
gonna assume this was not. I was gonna say I'm gonna assume with Englishman this was really not the intent. Probably something went wrong. They were probably debuted him at 7, wanted to try to get get Derby fever and try to take a shot, and the blends didn't go as they had hoped. I would imagine this is that alter plan. You run him in the Pate Mile, and then you try to point him for, I don't know, whatever race you target down the road. One other horse I did want to mention just real quick though is the 10 horse Great White. I liked him going into the bluegrass. He obviously ran up the track. I'm not going to make a ton of excuses for that.
He's running in the Derby, right?
yeah, I think he's in the Derby field now.
Oh, is he in the Derby field now?
Yeah, he
Are they
drew
going
in
there with him?
when Silent Tactic scratched.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess I don't need to talk about him.
Well, you can. You just got to wait like half an hour.
Yeah,
Okay, I'll wait a half hour to talk about him then.
the
He has
rare
no shot.
Derby washout in the Derby.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Does that like two negatives make a positive?
I
actually think I
believe
like him
Jaime
in this spot better
Escalante
than
would
the
agree with
Derby,
you.
but-
No, is that stand
Wherever my
stand
head.
deliver,
wherever
go
my
over
head,
everyone
yeah.
said. Okay.
Yeah, it's no.
Anything else in this race? All right, race 9, the American Turf. 3-year-olds, grade 1 here, and yeah, we have we're going to mile 16th. We got a $1 million prize pool here for the horses in this race, and yeah, your morning line favorite in this race is going to be the 4 Stark Contrast at 4-1. You get 9-2 on Remember Mamba, and yeah, I think you get 6-1 on Greenwich Village, and then it's basically everybody else double digits in this field already after that. Yeah. Oh, you get 8-1 on final score, but 14 horse field, and yeah, I thought Stark Contrast looked okay coming into this one, but I don't know. I guess like you have some questions, right? They tried the stakes, maybe trying to sneak into the Derby, and they decided maybe that cooler heads prevailed, and like, hey, maybe we should just stick to the turf here. Obviously finished second in the BC Juvenile Turf last year to Gestad. So, the horses died 3 for 4 on the turf with that one lone loss there. So, maybe just thinking like, hey, let's get back to the right surface. I think the horse looks good in this spot. Obviously, the 110 is the highest time form fig in this field, but I don't think by any means is he kind of like really just, I guess, tower over this field. And I think you can kind of tell by the fact that this horse is 4-1 as your favorite, or at least the morning line maker agrees with me. I do like the 10 Bassi here. Maybe a little bit of a question that Transylvania, like, hey, why does Pratt get off and he's getting onto the 4? But you get Johnny V aboard. You don't get Tyler Gaffleone, so that's always I think you consider that a slight positive here. And obviously that 105 figure, the 108 raw form figure, fits in well with this group. Kind of a mid-pack running style here. They do have this coded as a fast pace, but obviously it's a 14 horse field. Sometimes it's just hard to kind of figure out how the pace is going to look for that. And then the number 12, Remember Mamba, obviously a perfect 3 for 3 here. Maiden allowance, and then won the Transylvania last time. Obviously closed into a one red fraction there. Did have a bit of a issue at the start, but got the job done as a 2-1 favorite. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe this one ends up being your favorite over the 4, but I definitely thought that this horse was coming in, obviously with 3 wins. I think he was probably the horse to beat in here. So he's kind of my lukewarm top pick in here. But I will use the 10 and the 4. And really the only other horse that I had any interest in was the 13,000 Sticks. And right, this is the horse that was coming in with 3 straight wins, went to a stakes race at Gulfstream Park and lost to Vassie. But I mean, we've said this before. I mentioned this earlier, right? Mario Gutierrez gets off, and you get an actual jockey aboard in Joel Rosario. Now the only question is that this horse has done his best work on the front end, and Joel Rosario sometimes doesn't remember that he's one of the better jockeys on the front end. I don't know why people don't tell him that. But I think it's going to work out for him in this spot because I think there's enough speed and him being in a 13 post, I don't think he's going to be able to get to the front and he's going to be able to take back. And I do think that it's probably gonna help him out a little bit in this spot. So I like the 13,000 Sticks as my lone B in this spot. But I'm with the 2 favorites in this spot. I'm pretty chalky here with the 4 and the 12. I'll be using a little bit of the 10 Vassie and then the 13,000 Sticks. But we're going to go to the turf expert here, Mr. Caleb Knight. Caleb, how did you see this one?
Yeah, I will be very brief. Stark contrast and full effort are the 2 best 3-year-old turf horses in the country. One of them went to the right race. One of them didn't. Stark contrast wins this race for fun, I think. I mean, I would bet this horse with both hands down to 9-5 in this field. I just think he's considerably better than anyone else that's showing up in here, shy of maybe a breakthrough performance from Blackout Time on the surface switch, or potentially Remember Mamba with another big jump forward. Has already had 2 pretty big jumps forward in the 3 starts, and has a disadvantaged post in here. So I will be extremely concentrated through Stark contrast. I have a bit of interest in Remember Mamba, but if you're going to tell me that one's 4-1 and one's 9-2, then that makes my decision pretty easy. I think Stark contrast is an extremely likely winner of this race, and I don't see the need to go a whole lot deeper.
Mark.
Yeah, I'm kind of. I understand where Caleb's coming from here, but I think Stark Contrast ends up at half this price. I think you get 2-1, you maybe get 5-2 on Stark Contrast.
Well, luckily Caleb said 9-5. Both.
That's why I said 9-5.
I mean, that's just an insane take. You're going to take a Cali turf horse at 9-5. I mean, you have
How about
fun,
the
man.
second place in the Breeders' Cup to Gustad, but at 9-5.
The Breeders' Cup was in November, and here we are for Saturday in May. I mean, if you're saying that nothing's changed since then, okay, but I would imagine everybody else has had a chance to develop as well. I mean, I'll take the undefeated horse on top, Remember Mamba, who I don't think needs to take a huge step forward. I thought that Transylvania was a nice race, second off the layoff here. I think the post is the concern, but this is a horse that can invent his own trip, and man, he was absolutely rolling down the lane in that race. It was, again, I'm not a visually impressive person, but it was really visually impressive. I think Remember Mamba is of those 2 is the one that I want. And I'll agree with Josh. I do like 1,000 Sticks in here quite a lot. Rosario's got to invent a trip. Horse doesn't need the lead, but does need to be forwardly placed. And again, this is a bit of an every other pattern on this one. If you look at the actual figs, it seems to be a horse that's kind of trending in the right direction. I think the jock upgrade is worth a few time form points at least. And I think that the horse was sort of ridden very oddly in that last race. I can't imagine that was orders. And the Brian Lynch barn is having itself one hell of a year. So, I want remember Mamba on top. I want Thousand Sticks as a little bit as well. And but again, there's 100 ways you can go in this race. It's a really fun betting race. But I'll let the 4 beat me.
I just want to highlight that Nick Severs asks, is Rosario a real jockey? And then Mark goes, that's the real question. And then Mark immediately goes, Rosario is worth a couple of time form points on the jock switch. Please
The
let
good
record
Rosario
show.
is at 15-1. The good Rosario. Now, if that horse was 3-5, you know.
Can we also go back and clip the part where Mark said he's not a visually impressive person?
That is the dyslexia. It just beat me down there for a minute.
Matt, where did you land here?
I agree with Caleb here. I think Stark Contrast is like head and shoulders above this field, to be honest with you. Look, I mean, the horse has one loss. It's to Stad, and the horse has had Kimura up on his back his whole life, right? And now gets Flavian Pratt. Like, that's an upgrade. I mean, except for the fact that I do think that ride in the Juvie turf was phenomenal, right?
Yes.
Like, Pratt would not have run any better on that horse. Like, Kimura glued to the rail, saved every inch of ground. Like, no jockey's giving a better ride in that race. So let's throw that out there. That's like the
Brittany
perfect trip.
Wong.
Not even. Maybe.
Okay, if it was 1,200
always.
meters, maybe.
Always. Yeah, fine. Okay, yes. Didn't do shit for me today. But anyway, so look, I think Stark Contrast is the goods, right? Like, I do think the horse, doesn't really have to move forward, because it doesn't look like a lot of these are kind of moving forward fast enough to be competitive with Stark Contrast in here. And I agree with Caleb. I think 2-1 is a fair price. South of that, look, they're 3-year-old turf horses. Like, yeah, you're going to have to, it's hard to take any price but below 9-5 on any 3-year-old turf horse, like routing, right? Like, throw that out there. Besides that, like, the only other horses that I thought could be sneaky in here at like massive prices, and not that one of them is going to be a huge massive price given its third choice on the morning line, but I kind of like both Cassie runners in here a little bit, right? Like, even like blinging it back, it clearly isn't fast enough, right? Like, clearly, I'll throw that out there, right? Like, the Fig is way too slow to win this race on the 3, but I thought it was at least a pretty game effort last out at GP, and maybe this horse has moved forward off that long break. And so if it takes another step forward here, like, can that horse hit the board? Can Cassie get a horse that, is running well enough to, factor in at least underneath in here? Maybe. And, the same in the 7 in Alpeland, right? Like, I think it's just a horse that if you look at those figs, they're continuing to progress, they're continuing to upline, and I don't know, what the ceiling is on that. And so if you get double-digit odds on that 7, again, maybe. Do I think they're competitive with the tops of this race? No, but they're 3-year-old horses, right? Like, maybe some chaos happens. So those are probably the other two I'd default to in here, just at bigger prices, but main bet through Stark Contrast, just like Caleb.
Well, one of Mark's favorite angles is JJ getting aboard for a small barn, and he gets aboard here for Mark Cassie. So I do think that that's actually probably a good angle here. No, you guys didn't like that joke. Okay, we'll go elsewhere there. Artist David Barissa saying, "On paper, Mark runs huge. Mark's a big figs guy. Big figs go burr. Dude." I will say we did. I saw Cobb mention this horse, and Caleb, I think you briefly mentioned, but a trainer who has won this race, I think it was 5 years ago, was one of my favorite turf horses ever. We're talking about number 5 Blackout Time. Oh wait, no, wrong horse. Never mind. I was thinking of the Baffert, the Turfert. Baffert's got a turf horse in here, doesn't he? Or is that was that?
He does
Friday?
have. That's the 8.
The 8. Sorry, I was thinking of Greenwich Village. No, Blackout Time. Why did I think this is a freaking Baffert horse? But yeah, this is a horse. Not this time. This was interesting, right? Because the figs are big, and you look at the breeding. Obviously, not this time runs on both surfaces, but I don't know. This horse has worked twice on the turf and hasn't. I mean, I guess has looked fine on those two things. But Caleb, you said you had a little bit of interest in this horse, possibly.
I mean, not particular. There's turf pedigree there. I mean, the dam has produced a turf winner. The horse has run some good figures on dirt, admittedly. So maybe a bit. But turf or dirt to turf is a really poor move for Kenny McPeak. I like the fact there's 2 turf works. Yeah, clearly that gives me some indication it wasn't just a completely let's throw shit at the wall and see what sticks kind of a move. But I think stark contrast is just too good. It's more or less that I think he's kind of the unknown that if he improves considerably on the surface switch, he's the only one that I could see giving stark contrast a big run for his money.
Also, one of the all-time Caleb Knight horses won this race. Can you name it? Mark, I'll let you go first. All-time Caleb Knight horse.
There's so many.
Turf marathoner. Only
Which
one to boom Caleb.
Again, so many.
I think his biggest win came at Kentucky Downs.
Was it Zulu Alpha?
It was not Zulu Alpha.
Arklow?
It was Arklow.
Oh.
There is a list. To Mark's
There is a
defense.
list. I mean, Arklow's got to be top 5 for you.
Arklow's top 5, but Zulu Kingdom is rapidly ascending the list.
Oh man, Zulu Kingdom, Zulu Alpha, Channel Maker.
Really, it's all the
Arklow.
Zulu horses.
What about Sadler's Joy? Is that horse up there for you?
He never really boomed me that many times. Yeah, he's on the list, but he's toward the bottom.
That I'll tell you what, man. There's no booming like that random Channel Maker at like 22-1 or whatever that he won that one time, like 2 years past his prime. Jesus Christ. Jay asking, Caleb had a turf marathon winner. Unfortunately, I do not know if he's ever had a turf marathon winner, which is hurt.
Caleb catching all the strays tonight.
Stay tuned for. Oh no, the Turf Classic's only 9 furlongs.
We don't have to worry about it on this card.
Yeah,
all weekend.
Yeah, Nick Seaver saying I'll be out by this race, but seems stark contrast is a bit of a free square. So
yeah, we were talking KDBC.
Oh, hey, Jay saying Mark is good looking as he is bald, which Jay's avatar right is got like a wig on, so I just assumed he had a full head of hair at all time. But maybe we're a little question here. But anything else on this race? All right, race 10, the Churchill Downs, 7 furlongs, grade 1 here for 4-year-olds and up. And Mark or Matt, this has got the return of Knightsbridge, coming back, who all of a sudden apparently starting in November of last year has just like decided to start some crazy reign of terror through the 7 furlong and like 1 turn mile division. And I don't know, like did he set a track record or something at in February, or I don't know, he ran like a hole in the wind that day, won by 11 lengths. So he's 9-5 in the spot on the morning line. I think he's going to go way shorter, but what did you think of Knightsbridge in the spot?
I think I want to get around him. I mean, I know you're saying, hey, he's tearing a hole in the wind. Like his campaign, I mean, I don't know what's happening with the layoffs, right? I don't think anybody knows. And I think that's been the big question with this horse, as impressive as he's been. But the campaign kind of looks like he's been ducking big spots, right? And this is kind of the first test this horse is ever going to have. And do you really want the horse at odds on that's never kind of faced anybody? To me, no, right? And I'm not saying he's not the most likely winner in here even. I'm just saying, like, if you're going to get 3-5 on this horse, there's too many questions for me to try and take that price, right? And so I want to go elsewhere. Where else you going here? I mean, I think the only other horse that probably stands out to me that I'd really want is the 1 Disco Time, right? I think that horse, getting back to 1 turn is probably the appealing horse to me, right? Like, I think, he's kind of the opposite, where they were trying, okay, let's try longer distances. Let's see what this horse can do. Didn't take to it, but rattled off those 5 straight wins to kind of start the career. I think getting back to 1 turn is where this horse wants to be, right? You get Cox, you get JV up, you're getting, breeding wise, just everything kind of screams 1 turn to me on this horse. I think he's probably the play against it if you're getting the morning line, or even better, because Knightsbridge is taking all the money, give me all that, right? aside from that, I don't know where you go. Like, do you really want to take like Cornucopian to beat Knightsbridge? That's tough.
I'm sure
The
Josh
only other,
does.
I'll steal his thunder then. The only other horse that like fits on figs and has races that kind of fit, I think, is the 9 in Crazy Mason. The problem is like they put Manny Franco up on the horse, and Manny Franco somehow trained the horse to start running like 3/4 of the way down the stretch. Like, he's just that horse that's going to be coming too late, and Manny's back up, so you're going to get like the full Manny Franco experience on this horse. Like, I think maybe
to get me off. I hate the Manny Franco experience.
Well, you're gonna get it. Somehow he instilled the Manny Franco experience like into a horse. Like, you look at it, like starting at Saratoga back in June, like all those races are just like, we're going to sit 7th as long as possible, or 9th as long as possible. Like, he's just literally sitting in last until it's way too late, and then runs on to hit the board. So like, maybe if Manny could figure it out, or maybe if the stretch gets like, a little bit longer, or,
they run at the wrong distance.
Yeah, something like that. Maybe they forget, everyone else forgets the finish line. I have no idea, but like, this horse has figures that fit. I think honestly, you could play an all and key this horse in second, or just like, go all into place on this horse, baby, and make some money, because he's going to be a price at that. But like, I don't know. I just think like overall, right, my stand is against Knightsbridge in here, and I think Disco Time is the horse to do it. And I think you could probably key Crazy Mason in second underneath both those if you want to make some money. So I'll be against Knightsbridge, but if he wins, so be it. I won't be too disappointed.
Mark?
Yeah, I understand Matt's take here. I think
Look, I have Knightsbridge as a lone A, so if you want, this is a safe space, Mark. It's okay.
No, I think Knightsbridge is, he's much the horse to beat. If he brings his A game, he should win this race. I agree with Matt. I think somebody like Disco Time is an interesting sort of horse on the cutback. Loves him some Churchill, and this is probably the right trip for him. I don't need to wax poetically about those two horses. The other horse I thought it was a little bit interesting in here is the 8 horse, T.O. Elvis. Japanese shipper, horse has won 5 of 8 lifetime, has won his last 4. I realize this might not have been the target, and he might have been a little bit of plain fill, but if you do the convert, that 114, what is it, plus 15 or so points, it makes him a player.
It is absolutely not plus 15 points.
Isn't it like plus 12 or plus 15 from a Euro from?
No, I mean, this isn't Europe; it's Japan for one. And
is it not?
Yeah, the yen conversion's the other way.
Yeah,
15 off.
Screwed it up. Well, put it this way, at least he's in good form. I don't know. I don't know if he's fast enough, right? But at least a horse that's in good form. There's some upside, and if I'm going to get anywhere near 30-1, he's at least a little bit interesting in here.
I mean, you already know where I'm going, right? There's a night horse in the race that doesn't stink.
You're contractually obligated.
Just 2 hands, back up the truck.
I'm surprised. I thought this is a horse that you would try and beat.
No, I think this horse is way too good. I'm surprised about the Disco Time love, I guess. I mean, if you want to talk about a horse that's ducked some spots, I mean, the Lecomte into the St. Louis Derby into the 4-horse Dwyer is not exactly a Hall of Fame trajectory. Backs up to dead last in the Pegasus, and then it gets beat as a massive favorite at Tampa Bay. I just don't think much of this horse. I think he was very precocious and didn't do much afterward. But 6-1, that's probably a fair price. So I don't hate the opinion. I just think Knightsbridge is much too good for anyone in this race.
Do you remember, Caleb, we were talking about earlier, Brad Cox horses you can't trust?
Yeah, I mean, probably
Disco Time, man.
3 on the list, maybe number 2. He's up there.
Oh my God, dude. I was all over this horse in the Pegasus, and I had White Abario as a B, and I get freaking boomed by Skippy Longstocking. And then, the Challenger, like, I mean, he had absolutely no excuse in the Challenger. I don't know, like, he should have won that race by 3 lengths. Like, yeah, I'm just out.
I think Nick has the important point here. He's cutting back to a 1-turn mile, right? He's cutting back to a 1-turn race, and we've seen these horses that they just, 1 turn is what they want to do. And sure, you have to excuse some things. I'm not trying to argue that, but if your argument is he doesn't want to go 2 turns, that the last two were a little too far. He fits in here, and okay, cool.
But I mean, he's won at 2 turns twice. I think it's a class issue, not a distance issue for this horse.
Okay,
Yeah, but you can't say he's ducking spots if he's winning those races, right? Like, yeah, he's winning crap races, but like he's not that good a horse. He's winning crap races, but at least he's winning them with flow up, no less. So
with flow up, I'll give you. But
Mr. Money 2.0.
there you go. Add to the list of flow. Just want to make sure we register.
Maybe he doesn't like Pratt.
So are you saying Pratt off and flow up would be an upgrade here?
Ooh, interesting.
Asking he's getting Johnny questions
he's
getting Johnny
asking the real questions. No, I have a hard time trusting this horse. Like, for some reason my phone decided that it wanted to text somebody what I was just saying. But yeah, I have a hard time trusting the horse. Caleb, where is that big time form fig from?
You mean the Aqueduct fig?
Yeah. What do we say about Aqueduct figs, especially going 1 turn mile?
They're not real.
Yeah.
Well,
so I think you cross a line through you cross a line through that race, and this is just another horse in this race. And this horse is going to get bet. This horse is going to get bet like, I don't know, man. This horse is going to be 3-1. I don't want to touch this horse. The other horse I don't want to touch is number 2 Cornucopian.
Oh, I thought for sure you'd be on the Baffert train.
No, I ain't getting fooled by this horse. This ain't no Madacat Road Cornucopian Cornucopian thing, but I don't know, man. I mean, this horse hasn't really moved forward, right? Has not moved forward from 3 to 4. Just, I don't know. I think it's interesting that they only tried routing once, and then they basically were like, hey, we're just going to do the 1 turn mile. I don't know, man. I just don't like it. I think he hasn't moved forward like some of these other horses have. I got a bunch of horses. I mean, I actually prefer the other Baffert, the 7 Imagination. I think at least, hey, this horse has actually won something, right? He won the grade 2. They sent him overseas to Saudi Arabia. He won a Group 2 over there. I mean, maybe the question is, hey, like, how's he going to do with the ship back? But I'm much more interested in a horse like Imagination than I am a Cornucopian at a short price. I mean, Banishing. Why not Banishing? Caleb, are you on Banishing in this spot? I mean, come on.
I mean, you know that I am, one of the biggest Banishing stands you'll ever see. But I hate the UAE ship. I really do. And this is a horse that, if you want to talk about horses that are kind of hard to trust, the gap between his A game, his B game, and his C game is like a 130 time form, a 110 time form, and a 16 time form. I mean, you just don't know what you're going to get with this horse. I think you'll get better than 12-1, and I think he becomes interesting as maybe an underneath play. But yeah, I mean, it hasn't done his best work at Churchill, has to ship back overseas. I just think Nightbridge is too good. If Nightbridge wasn't in the race, I'd be more interested in Banishing.
I cannot believe that you did not support our troops, Caleb. An American in a war zone, shipping over. I mean, it's just an incredible story. And I can't believe that you're not on Banishing in this spot. The other horse that I was interested in a little bit is the 4 Hall of Fame. This is a horse. Oh, Mark is sitting back in the chair. He's about to fall out. I think he's going to crash out. This is a horse that obviously they tried to do the Derby Trail with this horse. Obviously, that ended up getting the setback. After breaking his maiden and just like being the it horse. But yeah, I'm interested to see how this horse does in 1 turn. Granted, this is the horse that they've been running 2 turns basically since breaking his maiden. But you go back to Churchill Downs, I mean, does have a nice allowance win going a mile. Obviously, it's back in December of 2024, so we're going in the Wayback Machine here. But yeah, I don't know. This is a horse that on figs obviously fits here. But we had a big layoff. I think you got a lot of questions, but I think you're going to get paid on that, right? I mean, you're 20 to 1 on the morning line. I think you're going to get all of that. So yeah, I'm really interested here in the 4 Hall of Fame at a bit of a price. But yeah, I mean, Knightsbridge is my lone A in here. I got 4, 7, and 10 as Bs. I did see someone in chat wanted us to talk about the 11 Point Doom. Did any of you guys give this horse a look?
Yeah, I think Point Doom is actually really interesting in this spot. At least in really good form. Wins the Carter. I know everybody's going to say the fig is fake, because something Aqueduct figs, but he and something Laurel figs as well. But
And
at
Parks.
least he's in good. And Parks figs, yeah. I mean, all the places Caleb loves, he's got figs for that. He's perfect going this trip. His one try at Churchill was not a good effort. I draw a line through that. I mean, you're going to get 15 to 1 on this guy. He's at least a little bit interesting.
I found him slightly interesting, but the post does him no favors. And
No, it doesn't.
yeah, I just can't get there.
Anything else on this race you guys want to cover?
I guess I know. Does anyone know where Disruptor is running? Because I think we talked about him yesterday, and we kind of liked him there.
Question. I've not
But
heard.
I mean, I don't really like him at 7 furlongs. I think if he runs Friday, great. If he runs here, no thanks.
I have not heard, but he would be. I think he's a bit interesting in either place he shows up, but I like him much better on Friday. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything either on him. So anything else in here? I see Penn State Scott asking about the 3. Can Macho Music steal us on the front end? I will say, if it does come up sloppy, I think Macho Music is interesting. Now, granted, I think we've said, hey, there shouldn't be much rain, but it's Kentucky. Who knows what's going to happen? But I mean, he did run a huge race here in the Pat Day Mile last year in the slop. And I do think he's a horse that really does like the slop, even though in the Woody Stevens he was a no-show when that was a muddy track. But I thought he was interesting as kind of a mudlark, but other than that, I don't really give him much of a chance.
If it's muddy, I'll trust that 136 from Aqueduct on Disco Time even better.
Okay. All right, let's move on to race 11 here. The Old Forester Bourbon Turf Classic. 1 1/8 on the turf, 4-year-olds and up. Grade 1, $1.5 million up for grabs. 2 turns on the turf. That means we go to Mr. Caleb Knight first. Caleb, how do you see this race?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm not the fun one of the stream tonight. Maybe I'm never the fun one, but I just keep landing on what I feel like are the very obvious picks. But I had a hard time getting around Rhetorical in this spot. He has some of the best races of anybody. I mean, his turf mile at Keeneland last year was extremely good. He was not embarrassed at all in the Breeders' Cup Mile. And, he probably needed the start in the Maker's Mark Mile and in what I'm considering a throwout race. He did not get a good ride that day. There was no speed in the race. He figured to be forward, and he let Zulu Kingdom go out there and blow up every single one of my tickets. Just walking the dog, and, essentially everybody ran in circles there. But I think he's better than that. I think he'll be better second off the bench. Will Walden is excellent second off the layoff. Irad Ortiz sticks aboard, strong connections all around. I just think on his day, he's the best horse. And for a 5-year-old, he's pretty lightly raced. So I do think Rhetorical is the horse to beat. I had a hard time getting around him in here. The other horses I gave a bit of a glance to in here were the number 1 Corruption, who I've kind of been hot and cold on for a long time. He kind of has a problem with, just finding one better a little bit. He keeps kind of running into Farbridge and Deterministic and a few others. But I do think with the rail draw and with Johnny V aboard, he'll be forwardly placed in a race that I don't see having too much speed in here. And I think there's certainly no questions about the stamina. If anything, the question might be would he be better going a mile and a quarter or a mile and 3/8 versus the mile and an eighth he gets today? But if he can secure a forward enough position, whether it's on the lead or just off, I think he's interesting. Should work out the best trip of any of the longer priced horses, although I don't think you're going to get 15-1 on him. And the other horse I gave a bit of a glance to was the number 5, Mercante, a horse of a few friends of the stream who are obsessed with this horse. But, he's a bit tougher to trust, I think. Was really disappointed with his race at Turfway last time out, a track that he's really done quite well at. I don't think a ton of Willie D's. I didn't think that was a great race. Couldn't quite get by. Turfway was pretty speed favoring most of the meet. Maybe give him a pass there. He did not run nearly that well in the turf mile or again against Wolfie's Dyna Ghost. But I just kind of wonder if, I think he's one that you might get every bit of morning line, if not a touch better. And if you dig back into the earlier parts of last year, especially looking at the Churchill Downs form, he likes this track and he does have some good races. Also second off the bench here as a 6-year-old. I mean, getting back to Churchill, I just wonder if he might be able to take that, kind of get back to that form we saw in the spring of 2025. But for me, Rhetorical is probably more of a lone A, and then I'll be using Corruption and Mercante behind him as Bs.
Yeah, I'll just add to that. I'm kind of see this similar to you, Caleb. I think Rhetorical. I think he's probably the most likely winner in the turf races. I really like him in the spot, and really the only other horse that I have is the 3 Asbury Park. I'm looking at Chad. I'm looking at the horse that Pratt's aboard, and I'm looking at a horse that obviously needs to find 13 points or so to be competitive in here. But this is a horse going from 3 to 4. This is a horse that is coming off a really long layoff, and this is a move that Chad Brown just seems to pull. I don't know how he does it with these super long layoffs and gets these horses to not just fire but like improve. He's one of the few trainers that I think can tell an owner, hey, we're not running this horse for like 9 months, and like we'll see what happens. And I think that Asbury Park of the Chad Brown horses is the one I want here. Program trading is coming in here as a 4-1 horse, as your kind of your third choice, and is one that I think is probably going to take some money. But I mean, this is a horse that just absolutely hates winning. I mean, granted, won the Turf Classic last year with Pratt aboard, but if that's the case, why is Pratt riding on the 3? I just think that Pratt knows this horse is a live Chad, so I'm not getting beat by Chad here. I'm going to use Asbury Park as my lone B. But yeah, most of my money's going to be going through the 6 Rhetorical in this spot. Matt, how did you kind of see it?
I kind of saw this similar to you, except I double crossed you and think this is a race where I get boomed by program trading, so I'm going to bet him. Right?
Oh, no.
It's one of those races where I'm like, well, think about it, right? Like, Josh is talking about all the angles of like how Chad can run these horses off layoffs and Pratt gets up and everything like that. And I can see the 3 going off 3-1 and program trading taking 0 money and going off 6-1. And then everyone, as program trading crosses the line first, goes, what the fuck just happened? Right? This horse sucks. This horse hasn't won in a year since he ran in this race. How is this horse winning? And meanwhile, you get Tyler celebrating past the line for no apparent reason, right? Like Chad can do that just as well as anybody else too. And so like, I think there's a price on this horse that you can take. I think if you get above like 5-6-1 on this horse, I probably want to use him. And I kind of see him mapping that way because I think people are going to see it the same way, Josh is, right? Rhetoricals, looks really good on paper. Asbury Park's the unknown that everyone's going to be like, oh, Pratt's up. This horse must be live. And I think program trading is the one who kind of gets lost on the board and all of that. Do I like the horse? No. I on paper, I see it exactly the same way you guys do. I just think like, given the horse run this race last year, of anything this horse wants to do, and it's not a lot, maybe it's this. So, maybe you get the right number on that. Just watch the board, I guess, on race day, or maybe I'm assuming there's 2-day doubles into this too, so you can kind of see how you're going to map out and kind of map it out, navigate it way in advance. So that's a benefit. Use those, kind of forward-looking doubles off of Friday once you get it. I forget what race it's coming out of, but I'm sure there is at least one kind of coming into here. So you'll get that ability to kind of see what's going to happen up front. The only other horse that I did kind of like in here, although again, I think there's just way too many factors against him, is the 7 Gold Phoenix, right? And that's mostly just on the thought that a horse that can finish within 5 lengths of Rebel's Romance is probably good enough to win this race. Like, I don't think there's any world beaters in here. Now, look, do I think this horse needs a setup? Yes. Do I think this horse needs way longer than a mile and an eighth? Yes, absolutely. Do I think Hector is the best jockey to be riding at Churchill? Maybe not. And I'll probably get attacked for any Hector slander, although he's kind of been he's been replaced by Jaramillo out there. So it's what's that meme, like friendship ended with Hector, Jaramillo is my new best friend. So but look, I don't know what price you get on this horse. I assume it's going to be way above the 10-1. Maybe, right? I think if you look at the form cycles of this horse, right, he kind of comes off a layoff and kind of continues to progress a little bit forward, takes a layoff. He's kind of coming back into that cycle a little bit. So can this horse move forward off even that last effort? Yeah, maybe. And if you get 15-1 on this horse because everybody else takes money, not without a shot. So I'll be pretty wide in here. It just, it feels like one of those races that I don't want either Chad to boom me, and I don't want, I think Rhetorical can win just as much, though I do think he's probably not going to be the price that I would want to bet him at otherwise. So tough race, interesting race, should be a fun race, but I'll be pretty wide in here because of all those.
Yeah, I think I kind of ended up being the sort of a little bit contrarian person in here. I feel like a bunch of these horses have just hurt me, and I want no part of the vast majority of this field. I don't know if Rhetorical wants to go further. Program trading just never wins. And I don't know. I had a really, really hard time really kind of falling in love with any of the shorter price horses in here. So a little bit of agreement with Caleb. I like Mercante in here. And as somebody, I think Jay said in chat, I thought Make Me King, the 10, was really interesting in here. This is a barn that does not ship a lot of horses to the United States. When they do, they win at a really high percentage. He's 67%, so 2 of 3 that I see in the last 5 years. With a $9.23 ROI, gets Jose Ortiz up in this race. I don't know why this horse is here. I don't think this was barn fill or plain fill or anything else. I thought it was really, really interesting to see that this horse shipped over. Had that win 2 back in Doha. I don't know. It's the fresh new face in this field of a bunch of horses that I just don't trust the vast majority of them with. So I think Make Me King probably ends up being my top pick in here. I think it's more of a tournament style play. I'm going to get 10-ish to 1 on a horse that I think could have some potential upside. So I'll land there as my top pick and try to let all the short price horses that I just don't really like beat me.
What was funny about the 10 Make Me a King is that none of this was filled in like 2 days ago. It was really funny. Like, you pulled up the PP and like it just said the trainer and jockey, and this was all blank. Huh. Which I just thought was kind of funny. But if you looked at the DRF PP, like all the information was filled in, but for some reason Timeform didn't have the stuff pulled in. But I don't know. I always love a horse shipping over for these races, but I thought I had a hard time getting there with the 10.
That's the same trainer that. Yeah, okay. It's the same trainer that had Salawi, who won the Canadian International at a big price, and also had Haunted Dream, who won. Yeah, so predominantly Woodbine shippers, not as much of the U.S. shippers. Probably, I don't know if I'm going to say cut below, but definitely shipped a bunch of horses into Woodbine. So I think it's an interesting spot, just an interesting player in this.
And I realize that you can't see what I'm highlighting because of Cobb's comment, but he's 2 for 3 first time shipping over to North America, he's won 2 out of 5 races in Graded Stakes Company. So he's done this a couple times, you're right, Mark. I looked this up. Salawi and Haunted Dream were the other one. He also shipped over the Strike and Viking, who finished 4th, I think, in a grade 2 at Woodbine. Yeah, he's just not someone who's been shipping over many horses, but he has, and when they have come over, they've done all right. So, yeah, I thought he was interesting, but I don't know. I'm pretty strong on the 6 here. So, but I think Matt, you make a good point, right? Like maybe everyone's going to see it the same way I do, and I'm Joe Square, and we're going to get boomed completely here. But yeah, we'll see. Anything else on this race? All right, the Kentucky Derby. 1.25 grade 1, $5 million up for grabs. And, I saw some positive reaction to us doing this yesterday. So I think we're going to do this again today. We got 20 runners in here. Obviously, the scratch or silent tactic is not going to be running. So Great White is going to get in. So we'll talk about him. But, man, we're going to go through 20 runners. We're going to go in or out. Caleb, you went first like all time last night. So we're gonna flip the order here. We're gonna put the pretty one at the bottom. Mark, we're gonna keep you in the middle.
Thanks for that.
We're gonna start with the number 1 Renegade. Todd Pletcher trains 4-1 on the morning line. Your morning line favorite, but I know yesterday wasn't your betting favorite. That went to the Puma. But 4-1 gets the dreaded rail draw. In or out? Matt, what do you say?
I'm out.
Mark?
Out on post.
Caleb?
Also out on post.
I'm way the heck out on Renegade. I didn't want any part of him in this race before the post. So, I mean, I'll be honest, man. That scares me a little bit. What do you think? What do you think the price is that we end up getting on Renegade? Do you think that he's going to sit at that 4-1?
No, that's a terrible line.
Oh, that's terrible, but I think I mean, what, 6,
7 or 8,
No,
maybe.
I mean
7.
5 or
field,
6.
20 horse field.
Yeah, I don't think so, but I think 5 or 6. I mean, there'll be one steam horse that goes off way shorter than he should. It feels like it might be the Puma this year. But yeah, I can't see him being longer than 6 or 7-1.
Fair enough. Number 2, Albus. Riley Mott sends this horse out. Manny Franco aboard. I did see someone say, imagine Manny Franco booming you in this race. I know he's talking about the race before, but imagine Manny Franco booming you in this race in the 2-hole. Matt.
I cannot imagine that, so out.
Mark?
Also out.
Caleb?
Yeah, I'm out.
I'm out as well. I don't think there's really much to say here. Intrepido, Mr. Mullins, Barrios shipping in for this horse. 2 wins to pretty early in his career, but didn't add a second and a fourth in the Santa Anita Derby to get enough points to get in here. Matt, what do you say?
I'm in.
Talk to me.
Look, I mean, I think the last race was just a complete toss, right? Like Hector was high-fiving people on the outer rail the entire way around. Like, I don't know what this horse can do, right? Before that, he looked like he was moving forward. Does Maximus Mischief want longer distance? Maybe based on some very light numbers, going 10. You're going to get a massive number on a horse that I don't know. Gets a decent draw, kind of has the run style to be booming home if it goes fast up front. At the price, yeah.
Mark?
Out.
Caleb?
Yeah, I'm out. I agree with Russ. I mean, I don't think the horse had much chance anyway, but it certainly feels like he left his race on the track 3 days ago.
Yeah, I'm out as well on this horse. But we move on to the number 4 litmus test. Bob Baffert sends one out. Martin Garcia, noted Derby blower upper from last year, who wiped out like 4 horses, is now on a speed horse in the 4-post once again. So litmus test at 50-1, in or out, Matt?
If I want to pick the last place horse again, like I just a touch, I would say in. Otherwise, out.
Out.
Mark? Caleb?
No, I'm out, but I would love for someone smarter than me to explain how this horse has enough points to even be here.
I am out as well on this one. Yeah, just not for me. Right to Party, number 5. Kenny McPeak sends us out. Chris Elliott, Turf God himself, shows up here. 30-1 on the morning line. Matt, in or out?
I lost a lot of money because Chris Elliott can't ride in the Wood Memorial, and he should have won that race, but out.
Mark?
Out.
Caleb?
Yeah, same as Matt, actually, so I'm out.
Commandment. Brad Cox sends this horse out with Luis Saez aboard. Last seen winning the Florida Derby. Won the Fountain of Youth as well. In or out, Matt?
Very much in on this horse.
Mark?
Very much in.
Caleb?
Also in.
I have this horse as a B. I'm in on this horse. Caleb, talk to me why you like Commandment.
You know, until I actually handicapped the race, I had the notion that I was going to be out on Commandment. I had this notion that he just kind of tripped out in all of his wins, but I went back and watched the replays, and this horse he's a gritty horse that just wins races. He doesn't have a lot of rights to win. I mean, that Florida Derby was a pretty slow pace up front, and he had by far the most work to do turning for home. The Puma got first jump. Chief Wallaby, I thought, had the upside, and Commandment still just got the job done. I mean, this is a horse that has a nose for the wire. He kind of feels like the unsexy pick of the Derby, the pick that, you know, could be the favorite, but is going to end up being 6 or 8-1. Maybe not with Renegade drawing the rail, but, you know, prior to that anyway. So I just think he's versatile. He drew well in here. You know, Cox has a loaded stable. He's progressed a little bit in pretty much every start. So yeah, I just think there's a lot to like and not much to knock.
We're going to get to number 7, Dan and Bourbon here. Dan and Bourbon, one of the Japanese shippers. I did see Fortnite is Fun asking, has anyone seen the Japanese horse's races? Curious how he looked. Plus, name of his last race is interesting. And one person I know who's probably watched these races, Mr. Matt Carlson. I'll let you go first on Dan and Bourbon. Are you in or out?
I'm out. I do not like Japanese shippers in this race, much as I do enjoy Japanese racing and not sleeping.
Mark?
Out.
Caleb?
I'm out. Maybe Superfecta, but I'm out on top.
I'm out as well on Dan and Bourbon. The number 8, So Happy. Mark Glatt sending this one in. Mike Turf God Smith himself deciding to bring his talents to the dirt. 3 for 4 lifetime. Last seen winning the Santa Anita Derby. 15-1 on the morning line. Matt, are you in or out?
Tepidly in with some concerns.
Mark?
Same as Matt. Tepidly in with some
Caleb.
concerns.
Yeah, exact same. In with some caution.
I am in, and I'm walking in like Caleb with a bottle of bourbon, dick first. I am all in. I'm so happy. I love this horse. I honestly, the other horse I really like in this race is the horse he beat in Potente. So, you know, if I like Potente, I gotta love So Happy. I'm a little afraid on the price we're gonna get on this horse. I feel like this might be, along with the Puma, the other steam horse. So I'm a little concerned about what price we get on here. But I mean, you know, the Mike Smith has won this race a number of times. I mean, the man knows how to ride a good dirt horse. So you know, this horse I think is just peaking at the right time. So really like So Happy in this race. Number 9, the actual steam horse, the horse named after a lookalike to Mr. Delgado, the Puma. JJ gets aboard here, who's ridden this horse 3 out of the 4 times. Won the Tampa Bay Derby, 2nd in the Florida Derby. Gotten all of the comparisons to a horse, Mage, who won the Derby.
Who one of
Matt,
us?
are you in or out?
I'm way out on this horse.
Mark?
Tepidly in.
Caleb?
Leaning out at what I think is going to be too short of a price.
I'm out as well because of the price. But Mark, talk to me. Why do you like this horse?
He's been gritty. He seems to be trending in the right direction. He meets the 100 buyer in a prep thing that I have, and I think he seemed like if you watch that Florida Derby, that a little bit of extra distance would do him some good. So yeah, I mean, now again, if he ends up being the steam horse and goes off favorite or co-favorite, no way on earth. But if I can get somewhere that 10-1 range, I think that's fair.
All right. Another one of the Japanese horses, Wonder Dean here, coming in off of the Group 2 win in Maidan. In or out, Matt?
Out.
Mark?
Out.
Caleb?
I'm in, actually.
Interesting. I'm out, but Caleb, talk to me while you're in.
Yeah, I mean, the UA Derby, historically not a great race, but this horse is going to be 30, 40 to 1. And 6 Speed had everything his own way that race. I mean, he had a 2-length cushion the entire race over a track that's notoriously a little bit speed favoring. And this horse was just relentless in his stretch drive to run down 6 Speed, to beat him handily. There was quite a bit of separation from the top 2 versus the rest of the field. And even, beyond that, I mean, look at the gaps in the finishing positions. Wonder Dean lost a lot of ground. He was parked pretty wide. And I don't know if he's this good, but the price is going to be right that, depending on the figures you're looking at, he looks pretty good from like a sheets angle. And I think he's one that at 30 to 1, I will have somewhere on a ticket.
Number 11, Incredible. Another one for Riley Mott. Jaime Torres gets aboard here. Last seen winning a race at Colonial. Matt, in or out?
Out for win. Maybe sucks up to hit the super.
Mark?
Out.
Caleb?
I agree with Matt. I like him a lot. I love his pattern coming in underneath, but I don't, even with improvement, he probably can't win this race.
Okay, I am also out on Incredible. Chief Wallaby, Bill Mott, Jose Alvarado, or wait, that sounds wrong.
Junior Alvarado,
Junior,
maybe?
it's
Junior Alvarado. Thank you. Why am I like, what the heck am I saying? Jose.
That sounds
Goodness
wrong.
gracious. I'm like, that sounds
It
wrong.
was
What did I
wrong.
just say? What words just came out of my mouth? Dude,
What are you
I'm
drinking
only
over
two barrel strength bourbons in. I shouldn't be making mistakes like that, man. My goodness. Only a maiden breaker, and that's it. But I'll tell you what, people are going to bet this horse like he's a sure thing. 8 to 1 on the morning line for Chief Wallaby. Matt, what do you think?
I like him. I'm in.
I am out.
Caleb?
I am begrudgingly out.
I am out as well. I think the price is going to be way too short. But talk to me about why you're in here, Matt.
I think he's moving forward, and I think, he's shown grit. I think he's one of the few horses in this race I've seen that, can actually take some dirt, and I think can make his own position in here. I think he'll get the right trip from both the post as well as kind of how he likes to run. So I agree that, there is a price on this horse that's maybe too short, and this screams to me a little bit of steam or too much steam to want. But, I think this horse is continuing to progress, and I don't see why he can't continue to do that to this race.
All right. Number 13, Silent Tactic, is not going to be running. So we move on to number 14, Potente, Bob Baffert, JJ Hernandez. Last seen running second in the Santa Anita Derby on the front end. Matt, in or out?
I'm out.
Mark?
Out.
Caleb?
I'm with you, Josh. I'm in.
Oh, baby. I'm all in on Potente. I love this horse. Oh, man. I'll tell you what, like I get he lost that last race, right? He dueled and ended up fading, losing pretty impressively to So Happy there. So Happy won that race by a big butt. I don't know, man. I thought this horse showed a little bit of grit there on the front end, held on for as long as he could, did put away the speed and like I said, finished second. And I just think in this race, man, with the outside draw, I think he's going to get a nice trip. JJ Hernandez, he rides all of Bob's big horses out west. I don't know, man. 20 to 1 seems kind of crazy, and I think the best Baffert in this field. I'm all in on this horse. Caleb, what are you seeing?
I think if you like So Happy, you have to like Potente because they're almost the exact same horse. Potente got the better trip in the San Felipe, where he got the stock dueling pace and kind of get the last run. And then in the San Anita Derby, Potente and Robusta went head and head the whole way. So Happy got the better trip. I think they're very similar horses. If I think one has a chance, I think I want to use both. And, if the Bob Baffert Revenge Villain Tour is kicking off on Saturday, I want a ticket. So
Number 15, Emerging Market, 15-1 for Chad Brown, Flavian Pratt. Perfect 2 for 2. Broke his maiden, won the Louisiana Derby. In or out, Matt?
At 15-1, I'm in.
Mark?
Out.
Caleb?
A price dependent in, but I wouldn't want much less than 15-1.
Yeah, I'm way in on this horse. I'm actually kind of shocked at the price. I have this horse as a B, obviously, but at 15-1, I think that this horse has got to be on all my tickets. We'll see what the actual price is going to be. I have a feeling we're probably closer to 10 to 12-1. If we're being honest, I think this is the horse that's going to be, one of the top choices. Not necessarily. I don't think he goes sub 10-1, but I do think he's going to be right around that price. But yeah, I like him in the spot. Number 16, Pavlovian, Doug O'Neill, Edwin Maldonado, won the Sunland Derby, finished second in the Louisiana Derby to the said Emerging Market. In or out, Matt?
I am out.
Mark?
Out.
Caleb?
Out.
Guys, I'm kind of in.
We all
I'm
knew this
kind of
was
in.
We knew you were.
I'm kind of. I think the horse looks like he's a little bit too slow. I really think the Louisiana Derby was a race to have him. And man, did I get every single piece of route that I had to that horse? I was in so deep. I forget how much I had to win on the horse, but it was one of my larger win bets, and that was kind of a a tough one to have. But yeah, I'm in. I think he's definitely a horse that if you're building supers and stuff like that, this is a horse that you got to include. I think this horse showed a lot of grit last time out, and I think almost beat Emerging Market. And we probably wouldn't be talking as highly of Emerging Market if that would have happened. The number 17, 6-speed here, coming in for Meydan off the second place finish in, I believe, the UAE Derby. Matt.
Out.
Mark.
Out.
Caleb.
Out.
I'm also out. Number 18, Further Ado, Brad Cox, John Velasquez, 6-1 on the morning line. Last seen winning the Bluegrass. In or out? Matt.
Way out.
Mark.
Way in.
Caleb.
I am out.
I am in on this horse, but Mark, talk to me while you're in.
I think again, being the not visually impressive person in the group, I thought his last out effort was very visually impressive in the Bluegrass. Did everything he needed to do. I think he may have needed one in the Tampa Derby where he was kind of supposed to get it done. Fastest figures in basically any product you look at coming into this race. I know everybody's saying bounce, but Brad Cox horses just don't bounce. So I think he's much the horse to beat in this spot.
Golden Tempo. Jose Ortiz rides for Sherry DeVoe. A couple of third-place finishes in the Louisiana Derby and Risen Star. Won the LeCompte in January. Matt, in or out?
Out.
Mark.
Out.
Caleb.
Superfecta at best, but out.
I'm out as well. Number 20, Full Effort. Another Brad Cox trained horse. Tyler Gaffleone sees fit to ride here. Last seen winning the Jeff Ruby Stakes. Matt, in or out?
Out.
Mark.
Out.
Caleb.
Out.
I was tepidly in until I saw the post. I think the post just kind of kills it for this horse, so I am out as well. And then the other horse that's drawn in, the number 21, Great White. Alex Achard sees fit to ride off of a 5th place finish in the Bluegrass that apparently gets you enough points to run in the Derby nowadays. Matt, in or out?
Out.
Mark.
Out.
Really? You were in a couple of races ago.
But if he runs in the Pate Mile, I would be in. I'm just not in here.
Caleb.
Slight difference in the Pat Day Mile and the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, slight.
I'm out.
I'm out as well. I did see a ton of comments here on the chat. Fortnite is fun saying he feels like 20-1 is disappointingly low on a 20. His work say he likes CD. He's his long shot pace, so he likes full effort. Yeah, I'm honestly, I would, if this horse would have drawn like the 12 post, I think I would be a little bit more interested in this horse. But yeah,
You don't think he just wants to drop back and make one run anyway?
yeah, I mean, I guess that is kind of what he wants to do. But I mean, it's a lot harder to do from the 20 post with 19 other horses in the race than it is from being a little bit up closer. But yeah, maybe the post didn't hurt him as much as his run style. I'll tell you what, man. When you watch the post draw, have you ever seen that meme where the kid like puts the ramen noodles in the microwave and they're burnt, and like it's just like he's just got like that blank stare in his face, like what the fuck did I just do? That's the look that Brad Cox had in his face as soon as they pulled 20 for full effort. So that I think told me a lot of what Brad thought of the post, and so I don't know. I'm a little concerned with him from the 19 post in that spot. Let's see what else. I did see Matt DeSantis saying Kaylee is in. He's out, but he's a cool horse. I'm curious who he's thinking about. We're talking about like Incredibolt or maybe Chief Wallaby. Maybe it was one of the horses we were talking about there. But Jay, he's in on the 16 and 17. He likes Pavlovian and 6-speed. Man, Jay, if 6-speed runs any kind of race, man, you better get paid if you like the 17. So, artist David Barista, he likes Incredibolt underneath. That's the 11 horse that we.
I do as well. I mean, if you're a form cycle player, paired top after a bad effort where he caught a dead rail at Gulfstream, I think he's very, very live underneath. He would need too much of a move forward to win, but I think he's very live underneath.
Yeah, I do like those horses.
Oh, go ahead, Matt.
Sorry, I was going to say, I mean, as far as like if you're constructing tries and supers, I do like those horses that have proven they don't mind running inside and taking dirt to the face, because you're going to get that in this race. There's a lot of horses in here, like I said before, that I think want that outside run style, and you might see a bunch of horses going like 14 wide into the stretch, and those are the ones that usually end up fading out.
Yeah, and we do have a man on the street, or on the man on the street in Mr. Matthew DeSantis. He says Potentes look phenomenal. We'll have no issues with distance, and he also said Emerging Market has also looked amazing over the track. So he's been in Kentucky for like a month. I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know if his flights got canceled or what, but that man's been living in Kentucky the last month. So he's been there for Keeneland. He's been there for Churchill Downs for all the works and everything like that. So make sure you check out all his content.
Pulling a Kanye, like living in the stadium for a month.
Yeah, basically. Russ talking about Chad Brown not sending his horses to the Breeders' Cup because of illnesses in his barn. Emerging Market is one of them, so only 2 races was not by design. But we got Fat Win said he's got a win place ticket on number 7, Dan and Bourbon. Good luck to you on that. I hope it hits for you. A lot of talk about So Happy not wanting the distance. I mean, we got a lot of stuff in here, but so we'll just go round robin real quick. Top pick, Matt. I know we started with you, so we're gonna start with Caleb. Caleb, who's your top pick in here?
Top pick in here for me is probably So Happy.
Mark.
Wow. Top pick for me is Further Ado.
Matt.
Top pick for me is Commandment.
And I guess just to round it out and be a little bit different, I'm going to go with Potente as my top pick. Number 14, 20-1. So anything else on this card we want to talk about?
Do we know the multiple 2-day pick sixes or any of the fun bets yet?
Back to nerve.
Of course, I signed up to do a damn group ticket, and I'm like, I'm going to be scrambling. I thought I'd have this stuff done tonight, and then I have Thursday and Friday to worry about scratches and other stuff. But, man, I'm going to be scrambling because, like, I don't know, man. Doing a group ticket's tough because I have some strong opinions, and if we get to a race where, like, there's, like, some clear, like, chalk horse that I hate is on there, I'm just going to be like, man, it's going to be real tough to not have it. But that's why I have Mark. So Mark has agreed to talk with me a little bit on Thursday night. to
I
go over
did?
structure. Yeah, you did. You did this yesterday. You told me yesterday. Oh man, you
did?
don't remember? You must have been drunk.
Okay,
I would explain a lot of his picks.
There you go.
wow. Wow. The slander.
Cobb asking if you guys care about Tomlinson's in this race.
Only if it's raining, which it's not going to be.
I care about off-track Tommies. I don't care about distance Tommies. I do care about distance pedigree, but I don't care about the Tommies.
Yep.
Do they
I
have
kinda agree.
concrete Tomlinsons? Like this track is going to be just like brown asphalt. So
Which one? The turf or the dirt?
yes,
Okay.
I did
the other one's green asphalt. It's green asphalt sod over it. But
Before we wrap up, I did have our friend Stephen Fox had one question he wanted me to bring up.
Oh no.
And he said today, right? Obviously, I think we'd be remiss in not saying that, right? This is the biggest day of racing of the entire year. Like, obviously the Breeders' Cup. The Breeders' Cup for us, right? We see the best horses, right? But if you talk to the general, Joe Q public, right? He's like, hey, the Kentucky Derby, and that's it. But he did ask, out of all the horses we're going to see today, and I think Caleb and Mark, we talked a little bit about this yesterday. Maybe these two cards are a little bit lower on star power than maybe in previous years. Of the horses that we're going to see this weekend, give me one, maybe two horses that you expect to see on that first weekend in November in the Breeders' Cup. I'll start with you, Mark.
Oh jeez. Gazira, the Chad Brown turfer on Friday. I think she, interested to see her to make the barn move. I think she'll be there, assuming that everything's good with her and doesn't have any sort of issues. And honestly, probably Knightsbridge, I think, would be the horse that he's sort of taken over that mile division, and I would kind of expect to see him in the dirt mile.
I see Cobb also saying Knightsbridge in the chat there. Caleb.
I also agree with Knightsbridge. I think a dirt mile fits him, even if it is two turns. It's Keeneland this year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Again.
And I'm going to kind of go contrary to my own Derby picks, but I think Chief Wallaby. I don't think he's seasoned enough to take down the Derby in a 20-horse field. Watching the Florida Derby back, I thought he hesitated to kind of pass in between horses, but galloped out well. I don't think this Saturday is the time to have him, but I think he has a lot of talent, and I think we'll see him mature and maybe see him in the Travers and then maybe again come Breeders' Cup. I think there's ability there.
Matt.
I'm going to take a real cop-out answer and just say my boy Prince, because I think if he wins this, he's probably in the turf sprint anyway. So,
it's always an interesting division, right?
yeah, it's who else is going to be there? So I'll just cop out and say that. But
It was funny because I was also going to have a cop-out answer, and She's So Spicy from yesterday. I thought that was obviously the clear horse that we'd probably see once again. But, I do think that a lot of these horses do have a little bit of staying power in the types like Caleb brought up Chief Wallaby, I think that's definitely one that we'll probably see. I don't know necessarily. We'll see if that horse we're going to see in the Breeders' Cup, but it's a tough year, right? Because you look at the Oaks, you look at the Derby City Distaff and some of these other races at Churchill Downs, and I think maybe Knightsbridge is probably the other one we'll see in a dirt mile, but a little bit short on star power I think this year, but it's always a great betting race. There's always a lot of public money. I think you go in with an opinion, you can always turn that into something. So, anything else before we sign off, Matt? You got anything?
No, I'll just echo what I said before, right? One of the benefits of this day is that you'll get these 2-day pools. You'll get kind of those forward-looking opinions. If you see something forward-looking that doesn't make sense, use it to your advantage, right? Don't feel like you got to originate everything. Go back to the sports betting analogy, look top down at this stuff. Use the smart money, maybe. If something doesn't make sense, do some homework on it. Don't just dismiss it.
Caleb?
Yeah, just one of my favorite days of the year, as always. Always advise people to throw $100 or $50 or whatever your bankroll allows you to do into the Derby Super. And, I prefer to think about it upside down. Find the horse that you key in third and fourth, and then use 4 horses on top. Key your golden tempos, key your incredibles, be right about them hitting the board, and give yourself some leeway to be wrong on top. And, I think it's always a fun ticket, and those supers always pay well.
Mark.
Yeah, great betting days. There's a lot of really good tournaments that are going on. You can get into tournaments that are very inexpensive, where you can buy into a $12 tournament and make yourself 10 grand. And you can also, a couple of us, I know a couple of people in chat will be hopping into some of the KDBC type stuff, which are the bigger live money things. That's probably what my target is. So good luck to all those people. A lot of money to be made here. A lot of really deep, fun tournament stuff. And obviously these, whether or not, take what we will about how competitive the races are, they're definitely good betting races because just due to field size.
Yeah, and like I said, it's something that we've done the last couple of years, and we try to do, obviously, with group tickets and stuff like that. I know there's a lot of people out there, right? They don't bet as heavy as we do, right? I know Mark and Caleb and even me and Matt, right? We get ready for this, and we have a bankroll ready for it. But a lot of people out there, $100, right, $200, and they're like, hey, this is what I'm cool betting, and it's like, hey, I mean, when I used to work at the first hospital I worked at, the way I got into horse racing was my friend now, but at the time he's like, hey, I know you like to go to Vegas, you like to gamble, we do a derby pool every year. And he just basically took $100 from 10, 15 people, and they bet it into the Derby Superfecta, right? Because on average, the Superfecta pays about 15 grand, I think is the thing. So, hey, if you don't have a big bankroll, if you got some friends, hey, people, you're the horse racing guy, and people are texting you for opinions, collect $20 from a couple people, go in on a ticket together. It's always fun. But this, like I said, this is the best betting opportunity that we have the entire year as people who follow horse racing. So I think to Matt's point, do your homework, and you'll have a little bit of an edge over the rest of the public. It's the only time where public money is going to come close to what the computer money is, and the computer money is still going to be there. You look on Twitter, people are going to talk about the computers all the time, but there's going to be a lot of public money in there too. So you can you can still make some money on some opinions. So
also one thing, every other track is also running today, and I assume Josh will bet every single race at every single one of them. So he's going to be playing about 175 races on Saturday, if I had to guess. So ask him for an opinion on any of them, not just Churchill Downs.
If you want to know who's going to win Penn National Nightcap, you got your guy.
Horseshoe Indy, 10:45, first post. Josh will be fired, I guarantee it.
Horseshoe Indy, not me. You know who you got to ask for Horseshoe Indy picks?
Papa Knight.
Papa Knight.
Yeah, that's Papa.
Nothing like being in the 1863 1863 room, and all of us are sitting there watching Saratoga, and Papa Knight's firing at Indiana Grand. I mean, I think he hit a pick 5 when we were there. I know he hit that Del Mar pick 5.
He hit the big one at Del Mar. I think he had something smaller at Indy Grand too.
The best part was he was driving, and we were going some way that we have never gone before. And I don't know if he was just taking the long way because he was trying to watch his race or what was going on. But I remember us being in the car on the way to dinner, and he hit that pick 5. That was great. But yeah, there's gambling opportunities everywhere. But thank you guys for checking us out. Obviously, we do this over the summer, basically every single Wednesday night. It seems like it's going to be our regular night. Obviously, Matt and I, we do our Hong Kong podcasts on Fridays. We'll be taking a break from it this week, I'm going to be doing all kinds of content this week. But
I'll still be betting it, so don't worry.
Yeah. Yep. And yeah, you can check him. He'll have his picks out there. But thank you guys for checking us out on thewronglead.com, at wrong_lead on Twitter. I'm at Cherry Drank. Matt's at Slow and Steady. Caleb's at CalebWVU. Mark's at 2 Turns. Obviously, check us out on the Reddit Horse Racing Discord. We're in there all the time. We may or may not be spinning up on the Wrong Lead Discord. We'll talk through that as well. But yeah, we got tons of stuff out there. If you guys ever need anything, feel free to reach out. Have a good weekend, everybody. Let's make some money.